And shout out to you, Tony. I know you be over there hanging out on YouTube as well too. So I saw the other day you told me you were hanging out on YouTube. For my people coming into YouTube, definitely we just went live. Definitely go ahead and click the notification bell. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the actual Newstoter YouTube channel. Definitely like and share tonight's broadcast as well. Once again, like and share tonight's broadcast. Make sure you visit newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking black news. Visit newstoter.com, the largest black American news media curation platform today in America, guys. We're going to be hitting up on a number of issues tonight. We're going to be talking about the New York reparations study that they have coming up. And I don't know why they always got to do a study when it comes to the reparation thing. We're going to be talking about the Navy Federal Credit Union mortgage scandal as well, too, involving all the black applications that's been getting rejected. And we're going to talk about Mayor Rudy Giuliani and the lawsuit that he had. The two sisters down there in Georgia, they hit him up for something around close to $150 million verdict, and they sued him again because he's still putting their name and stuff as well too. So we're gonna be discussing a number of issues tonight. I hope everybody's ready to have a very informative and very somewhat spirited conversation as well too. Respectful but spirited as well too. Shout out, I see Stephanie up in the spot as well. What's up, Stephanie? Trance, I see you down there as well. And we're going to definitely go ahead and get into it. And I think I may go ahead and lead off with the Rudy Giuliani. CNN today, yesterday, they published an article and they were talking about Rudy Giuliani. And of course, like I say, not only was he sued one time by the sisters in Georgia, for defamation, he was saying all kind of things about him. He hasn't let up one iota either. You think getting hit up for 145, 150 million dollars, whatever it was, you kind of would, cease and desist. But Rudy Giuliani is still talking hella noise. I don't know if it's an old age catching up with him, the former America's favorite mayor or whatever. He still won't chill. All the articles tonight up in the Jumbotron, as well as the description over there on YouTube as well, guys. I'm gonna read up on this. Touch up quickly on the article about Rudy Giuliani. I'm going to also get into the New York reparations, so don't worry about that. I'm going to touch up on the Navy Federal Credit Union fiasco that's going on, and just seriously, the way that they're disrespecting black the black applicants over there as well too. So we got a number of things we're going to touch up on real quick from CNN. Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, the two Georgia election workers who won nearly $150 million verdict against Rudy Giuliani for defamation on Friday, have sued him again, asking a federal judge to permanently prohibit him from lying about them. The lawsuit comes as Giuliani has continued to make false statements about their work as absentee ballot counters in the 2020 election. Defendant Giuliani continues to spread the very same lies for which he has already been liable. The new lawsuit says defendant Giuliani's statements, coupled with his refusal to agree to refrain from continuing to make such statements, make clear that he intends to persist in his campaign of targeted defamation and harassment and must stop. Ted Gutman, an advisor to Giuliani on Monday, declined to comment on any potential upcoming legal matters. The new lawsuit represents the latest round of fallout facing the former New York mayor because of his legal work for Donald Trump after the 2020 election, and comes as Giuliani continues to be buried in debt and legal proceedings. He is also headed to trial for criminal charges in Georgia, where he's pleaded not guilty related to his 2020 election work for Trump. Moss and Freeman lawyers added that even since the verdict, Giuliani has indicated he would not stop repeating the false claims about them. At the end of the first day of the defamation damages trial against him last week, Giuliani told TV cameras outside the court that everything I said about them is true and that he had proof that the media should stay tuned. Giuliani presented little defense in the case and didn't testify. Moss and Freeman pointed out that Giuliani also told the media after the jury's verdict Friday that he had no doubt his comments were supportable, and he continued to repeat himself on a podcast hosted by a far-right figure, Steve Bannon. The new lawsuit seeks permanent injunction from the federal court in Washington, D.C. to be placed on Giuliani that would prohibit him from making or publishing or causing to be made or published further statements repeating any and all false claims that the mother and daughter during the 2020 election ballot counting engaged in the election fraud, illegal activity, or misconduct of any kind, according to the filing. More than a dozen statements Giuliani made about them, accusing the women of tampering with votes as they counted ballots were found to be false. And in a statement in a separate court filing Monday, attorneys on both sides agreed on the final numbers and terms. Now that the jury's weighed in, Giuliani agreed the court's final judgment would make clear he owes the women 146 million plus more than 237,000 for attorneys' fees. The jury verdict has been slightly reduced because Moss and Friedman previously settled another part of their lawsuit against One American News Network and others. Giuliani also said the court can say in his final judgment that he made more than a dozen defamatory statements about Moss and Friedman that hurt them, and that his conduct was intentional, malicious, and willful, according to the filing. By including those declarations in the court's judgment, it will be more difficult for Giuliani to avoid paying Moss and Friedman by filing for bankruptcy. The judge, Beryl Hall of the D.C. District Court, signed off on the terms of the final judgment Monday evening. The clock is likely to start soon for when the women may be collecting what Giuliani owes them for their emotional distress, reputational harm, and as punishment. Moss and Friedman's attorneys have told the court they would likely like to try to collect money and claim his assets as soon as possible and not wait for a 30-day delay that is automatic in cases like this. Giuliani said he wants to keep the 30-day delay, but Howell hasn't weighed in yet on the timing. We're going to work very, very hard to ensure that they see every bit of the money that Mr. Giuliani has available to him and to satisfy his judgment. John Langford, one of Moss and Freeman's attorneys, told CNN Aaron Burnett after the verdict, getting a final judgment entered is a document you need to go to other jurisdictions where Mr. Giuliani has assets in New York, Florida, and attach the judgment to his assets, Langford added. While Giuliani has repeatedly claimed he's broke, Moss and Freeman's legal team is already carving out ways to collect what they're owed. The lawyers for the women have identified substantial assets Giuliani has in New York and Florida, including bank accounts, a condo in South Florida, and a New York City co-op, according to another court filing. Following the jury verdict and during the trial last week, Giuliani acknowledged that he had reached an agreement to host a show on a streaming channel affiliated with right-wing network Newsmax, which could contribute to his income in addition to earnings from podcasting and other public appearances. Moss and Freeman's team told the court money they are already concerned Giuliani may try to shield some as well, so they want to try to claim some of his assets as soon as this week. Defendant Giuliani has already proven himself to be unwilling and uncooperative, including with respect to the court's orders to pay attorney fees and costs. Moss and Freeman's attorney told Howell on Monday there's a severe risk that defendant Giuliani will use whatever time he has to alienate or dissipate what assets are available to satisfy even a small portion of the plaintiff's judgment. Moss and Freeman's lawyers have struggled for months to gain a full picture of the former New York City's mayor's financial state, with some of their only insight coming from a years-old tax return of Giuliani that he has not made public. Even so, Giuliani has publicly claimed he is broke. That prompted him earlier in the lawsuit to essentially forfeit fighting them in court, leading to the trial this month. The court action on Monday notes Giuliani still hadn't paid Moss and Freeman for reimbursements they won earlier for their attorney fees. A law firm that represented Giuliani in other proceedings is suing him for almost $1.4 million of unpaid legal bills as well. That's on top of other debts Giuliani has disclosed publicly, such as tens of thousands of dollars of unpaid phone bills and litigation costs, some of which Trump has helped him with. If he does not file for bankruptcy, he will continue to be indebted to them until he can pay it off. Jennifer Hardy, a bankruptcy partner at the law firm Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, which represents Moss and Freeman, told CNN on Monday, Hardy and others at the firm have been working to try to secure money for the families of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting victims from another right-wing figure, Alex Jones, who defamed them and has since filed for bankruptcy. The Jones case shows that the following major defamation judgment defendants need to come up with the money, strike a deal, or have debt that's hanging around your neck for the rest of your life. Another Wilkie Farr partner involved in the Jones case, Stuart Lombardi, said Monday. Shout out to everybody that's up in the actual Twitter space. Shout out to my people that's over there also on YouTube as well, guys. Make sure you guys go ahead and share out tonight's program. I see DJ and Friedman are up in here as well too. DJ, I'm going to send you the invite to speak. And then when you get that, you can go ahead and get the invite to co-host as well, too. Freeman, what's going on with you? That Negro. I see Original as well. What's up? What's up? What's up? If anybody wants to go ahead and get anything in real quick before I go ahead and go to the next article, let me know. Let me know. And we will definitely let you guys say something real quick. Freeman, I know you held a space earlier today too, talking about the actual New York reparations. So I definitely want to hear what you guys got to say. That Negro, good to see you up in here as well too. Good to see you up in here as well. Let me touch up real quick on the Chicago. No, I'm sorry, not Chicago. Let me touch up real quick on the actual Navy Federal Court Union. Guys, give me 1 second. All right. This article is talking about the actual issues that's going on with the actual mortgage situation. And we're supposed to get Rella up in here too, because she has some actual experiences. I think she has some issues with Navy Federal Credit Union. And I kind of want to get her expertise. I want to get her experience and everything that she dealt with, her personal experience, but she's not up in here. So hopefully she gets a chance. She'll come up in here later, you know. Let me go ahead and touch up on this. This is from the Chicago Defender. It's up in the Jumbotron, curated on the platform as well. It's all of the articles, like I said, is up in the Jumbotron. And on the description, Navy Federal Court Union rejected and turned down half of its black mortgage applicants. Navy Federal Credit Union, the nation's largest credit union, approved mortgages for white borrowers at a much higher rate than their black counterparts, according to the CNN analysis. In 2022, the credit union approved over 75% of white applications for a new conventional home purchase mortgage, while only approving less than 50% of the black borrowers who applied for the same loan. The nearly 29% gap in approval between white and black applicants is the largest disparity among U.S. lenders. According to the CNN analysis, the disparity was still present among white and black applicants who had similar incomes and debt-to-income ratios. Navy Federal Credit Union also approved more applications from white borrowers making less than $62,000 a year compared to black borrowers making $140,000 a year. I don't even know how that's possible. Further analysis by CNN found black applicants were more than twice as likely to be denied than their white counterparts when more than a dozen variables, including income, debt-to-income ratio, property value, down payment percentage, and neighborhood characteristics were the same. Navy Federal spokesperson Bill Pearson denied allegations of racial discrimination in its lending practices. Navy Federal Credit Union is committed to equal and equitable lending practices, strict adherence to all lending laws, Pearson said in a statement. Employee trading, fair lending, statistical testing, third-party evaluations, and compliance reviews are embedded in our lending practices to ensure fairness across the board. Pearson claimed that CNN's analysis does not accurately reflect our practices because it didn't take into account major criteria required by a financial institution to approve mortgage loan, including credit score, available cash, deposits, and history, and relationship history with the lender. He said, the above information isn't available in public mortgage data, and credit union declined to release additional data. I find that really, really hard to believe that he was saying that they didn't take into effect credit score. Now, for somebody who has who's had mortgages taken out in his house and everything else, and the first thing they do is get your damn credit score. He was trying to say that they didn't take into account the actual credit scores that they do. Nonsense. Whenever you go ahead and if you're thinking about doing a refinance or getting a mortgage or this and that, the very first thing these people want to know exactly what your credit score is. So he's saying that they didn't take into account the actual credit score of the people that are trying to get an actual mortgage. Now, when they made a comparison, they were saying that white borrowers that was making $62,000 a year compared to black borrowers making $140,000 a year was still getting approved over these people right here. I find that very, very hard to believe. First thing they want to know when you get ready to do a refinance, or you're trying to purchase a home, they want to know your credit score. They want to know your work history. They want to know what available cash you got on hand. All of this stuff that he's talking about, that is a basis. That is a bare, that is a bare necessity that you need to go ahead and actually get a refinance or get an actual mortgage. So to sit up here and say that, hey, this and that or whatever, the same way that when CNN, they say CNN analysis by CNN found black applicants were more than twice as likely to be denied than their white counterparts when more than a dozen variables, including income, debt to income ratio, property value, down payment percentage, neighborhood characteristics were the same. If they did all of that, trust me, they went ahead and they also figured out what your credit score was. They knew exactly how much you had in the bank. They wanted to find out if you had any liens on your property, if you made any home improvements or whatever. All of this stuff right here is the bare necessities that when you're trying to go ahead and get a mortgage or refinance anything, it is vital for these people to know. They got to know your work history. They got to verify that as well too, because they're not going to let you go ahead and take a mortgage out and you're no longer employed. So for this dude to sit up here and say that, well, they didn't take the credit score and they didn't take the available cash, and the hell, nobody cares about your relationship with a lender as long as you haven't been defaulting or missing payments and stuff like that. So this right here, this guy tried to come up here, the spokesperson for Navy Federal, and try to go ahead and deny all of this stuff right here. That's nonsense. Like I say, I have done refinances on my home before and stuff right there to get a lower interest rate. What he's saying is complete nonsense. It takes a minute to, like, you got to go through a lot of hoops and everything else. The refinance, or even to purchase, especially when you talk about purchasing action. If you talk about actually purchasing real estate, you're talking about something that's months, that take months in advance. Forget the refinance, but if you actually talk about purchasing, so whatever he's saying, it makes no sense. They're going to check and see your credit. They have to do that. Your credit score is one of the major things. It's not the only thing. That income to debt ratio is also important as well too. So to sit up here and say that you did this, no, man, complete nonsense. What's up, Black Majority State? I see you up in here as well too. Shout out to you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to touch up on the on this actual New York reparation thing. Freeman, like I said, I know Freeman actually did a space earlier. So Freeman, if you want to actually come up here and say anything about it as well too, feel free. I know you guys had a space going on. If there's anything that you want to add or speak on, Black Majority State, what's up? Any of my New Yorkers up in here? I wish Dark and Lovely was up in here as well too. So yeah, Freeman, get brother Freeman up here, because I definitely like I said, I know they had a space going on earlier, and I just want to go ahead and of course, it's another study. We saw Al Sharpton, and he had a number of Black folks up there. I'm going to touch up on it as well too, but I'm going to let Freeman go ahead and get it in real quick as well too, because I want to hear what he's got to say about it. What's up, Freeman?
Peace. Salute to the Freeman Media God, Newstoter, and white people, institutions, all races. What's going on? Salute to the Freeman family. I did see Stephanie in my space earlier that you mentioned. I got to finally speak with her. Great bill with her. I see Mel in here, and of course the rest of the Freeman family. So this is a bill S1163, sponsored by the Coon, Trader, and American Freeman, to my knowledge, James Sanders, and it's an all brown skin complexion lives matter bill. An all brown skin complexion lives matter bill. Governor Hochul, she signed off on it, but sadly it's not just her, because this is politics. So the New York State Assembly signed off on it, 141, and the district senators signed off on it, 41 to 21. So in total, that's about 163 elected officials who are enemies to the American Freemen, and they want an all brown skin complexion lives matter bill. And it's just proposals. I guess you can say there are some recommendations, but there's no money. As far as the budget is concerned, there's no specific dollar amounts. Yeah, it's a terrible bill. They call it reparations, but it's not reparations. It's not even state acts of atonement. Again, the reparations is on the federal, national level. These New York things or the state acts of atonement are just what they are, state acts of atonement. So let's get that narrative clear, right, and exact. And Yeah, I named a lot of the other co-sponsors, in particular the district senators. One of them being Cordell Clear, she's trash. Sepulveda, he's trash. Even Robert Jackson, he has real great equity within the community, but him being a part of this bill, it gives him a lot of discredit in my eyes. So, to my knowledge, he is an American freedman. And then, of course, there's some Confederate Karens on the bill, some Europeans, Confederates, or suspected Confederates, let me say that, suspected Confederate Karens, and other enemies to the American freedmen. So, this is going to be all inclusive of Igbo people who came here yesterday, people of the Nigerian Igbo tribe who came here yesterday or came here 10 years ago, people of the Haitian ancestry or the Jamaican ancestry who have no blood equity in this country, let alone New York. But of course, not New York, because New York is a part of this country. So they will be benefiting from this bill, sadly, because that's what it is. The letter of the law is trash. The spirit of the law is trash because James Sanders was a part of it. Who else? Michelle Solange. She's a Caribbean ancestry, I believe Haitian. To be exact, which is why you can see the fixes in, because they don't support justice, remedial justice, and state acts of atonement or any reparations for the American freedmen unless they can be involved by way of blackness. Which is why you see African descent, which is why you see African American, and nothing but racial language. So we have a bigger problem along with the current problem, and that problem is we have elected officials who are supposed to be lawyers and overqualified with an understanding of the legal language and legally conscious. They're actually legislating unconstitutionality and unconstitutional policies and bills that's only going to anchor the American freedmen at the bottom and water it down. And this is one of those bills, S1163. I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you for the time.
All right, no problem. And I want to go ahead real quick because I got an article on from one of our curation partners, a Neo Jim Crow, and I want to go ahead and it's talking about the Republicans. You already got some Republicans talking about this bill as well, too, up there in New York, and needless to say, they're not too happy about it. So I want to go ahead real quick. I'm going to go to this site real quick, guys. Give me 1 second. I see Rella up in the spot as well, too. Shout out to you, Rella. Shout out to you, Naheem. Rella, I'm gonna let you go ahead and definitely get a chance to talk about your situation with Navy Federal as well too. Go to this real quick, and let me just say, Freeman, can you still hear me real quick before I go to this actual site and read the article? I didn't print this off the site, but can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Was that question to me?
Yeah, I just want to make sure. I'm going to go to the site because sometimes we go to the site and people can't hear. But let me go to the site and read the actual article. Give me 1 second. And this says New York slave reparations sparks Republican fury. A new reparation committee in New York State has sparked anger from Republicans who argue that the pen will only divide the state. New York will create a commission tasked with studying potential reparations for state residents who are descendants of enslaved people under a bill signed into law by Governor Kathy Hochul on Tuesday. The commission, which will present its findings in 2025, will be tasked with examining the state's legacy and making non-binding recommendations on how to address racial structural inequalities in New York that could include monetary compensation. Anything proposed by the panel would need to be passed by the state legislature and governor. New York is the second state after California to create such a commission. It comes a time when many states and cities across the country are fighting out how to address systematic racism in the U.S. The panel in California finished its work earlier this year, recommending as much as $1.2 million per eligible resident over time. Although the creation of the New York committee was praised by Black leaders who attended Tuesday's signing and other state officials, it was also met with backlash from Republicans like New York State Senator Robert Ort and New York GOP Chairman Ed Cox. Ort blasted the legislation on Tuesday, calling the commission divisive and unworkable, arguing that reparations of slavery had already been paid with the blood and lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans who fought to end slavery during the Civil War. Ort said he was confident that any recommendations from the panel would hurt residents rather than help. As we see in California, I'm confident this commission's recommendations will be unrealistic and will come at an astronomical cost to all New Yorkers and will only further divide our state, he said in a statement. Reparations are a divisive issue in the United States, A Reuters poll from June found that while nearly 6 in 10 Democrats support reparations, only 18% of Republicans do. Black Americans also overwhelmingly favor reparations, with 74% supporting the idea, while only 26% of white Americans do. Cox slammed Hochul's signing as misguided and criticized her, but not focusing on challenges facing the state, like the recent influx of migrants from the U.S. and Mexico border. Governor Hochul's decision to endorse a divisive and unproductive reparations study is misguided, Cox said in a statement. Instead of focusing on the issues that truly matter to New Yorkers, like our ongoing immigration crisis, crime, and the exodus of residents from our state, she's chosen to reopen old wounds and stoke racial tensions for political gain. Slavery was legal in New York until 1827. Hochul acknowledged that the state profited heavily from the slave industry and slave trade. In New York, we like to think we're on the right side of this. Slavery was a product of the South. The Confederacy, the governor said at the signing of the bill in Manhattan. What is hard to embrace is that our state also flourished from slavery. It's not a beautiful story, but it's the truth. The move was celebrated by those who joined Hochul at Tuesday's event, like Reverend Al Sharpton, who applauded the governor, telling the crowd it took a courageous young white woman from Western New York to say, "I'm going to do what all the urban men before me wouldn't." Some of the media will act like Hochul met us in here and gave Reverend Al and all of us a check for $1 billion. Sharpton said, this is not. But this is not what this does. This is just the beginning of healing scars. New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, who offers reach racial wealth disparities and released a new report that supported Reparations Commission earlier this month, also commended State Senator James Sanders Jr. and Assembly Leader Michelle Solange, both Democrats, for spearheading the effort. The New York State Young Republican said in a post on X, formerly Twitter, that Democrats thrive when New Yorkers are divided, and accused of new legislation of pitting New Yorkers against each other. GOP strategist Reverend Damian Jones also called the committee a lie that was being promoted by dishonest Dem governors, and insisted that the reparations will not be paid in your lifetime. Don't fall for the deception. And the election year, Jones posted on X. Hochul admitted that on Tuesday, she had some concerns about the commission because joining reparations conversation could sow racial division and strife, but pointed out last year's mass shooting in Buffalo, when a gunman who reportedly described himself as a white supremacist killed 10 people, all of whom were black. Anybody that thinks racism and hatred for blacks no longer exists, tell that to the families of the 10 victims at the grocery store in the massacre in Buffalo, who once again will be staring at empty chairs at their Christmas dinner, Hochul said. All righty. Go ahead, Freeman. You got it.
Well, at this point in time, it's just a lot of political theater. I think I even heard Al Sharpton Coonan and saying, "Look, you got this white woman signing off on reparations and doing a job that urban people or the urban community wasn't do." Yeah, and still you see the picture of James Sanders on there, Coonan and tap dancing. And of course, we all know the Freeman Conscious family. We all know Al Sharpton is no friend to the American freedman, even though, to my knowledge, he is an American freedman himself. So yeah, this bill is trash. And then you have people like the New Sample Republic who have been working behind the scenes with James Sanders in support of this bill, while also claiming that they support reparations based on ancestry. So a lot of fuckery going on. Excuse me, my bad. A lot of illegitimacy going on. A lot of illegitimacy going on by way of people on Twitter, people who go by racist classifications like Sambo and Negro, and claiming that it's all about the lineage and ancestry. Yet and still they're supporting S1163 bill and legislation, which is all inclusive of people who have brown skin complexion. So this is a problem. We have to do some more in-house cleaning, because this is an in-house bill, not an in-house bill, but more so some people who look like us, these black faces. Some of them American freemen, others are melanated non-American freemen, and they're pushing this bill through, and they're trying to get the credit for it, but it's nothing. It's a nothing bill. It's unconstitutional. It's not specific to the American freeman. It's not exclusive to the American freeman. At the time when it was proposed on the floor in the state legislature, there was even an Asian man who was saying, "Oh, I have some African descent. I can be a part of this bill too." That's literally what happened. a European man followed behind suit and said the same exact thing. So these Republicans, although they disagree with it, they disagree with it for different reasons. They're calling it divisive. Well, this country's been divisive. Have you been here during George Floyd, the lynching of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor? So if we're going to unite the country, you have to start with the equity of the American freedmen. You have to. There is no getting around this and not giving justice to the American freedmen if you're talking about America first, family, and justice, and Declaration of Independence, and we the people. You can't do that without repairing the American freedom. And no, white people dying in the Civil War was not reparations. That was them being America first and fighting for their own interests, because we had men who were enslaved or formerly enslaved, and their ancestors who were enslaved, or their fathers and mothers who were enslaved, who actually killed and died to liberate themselves. And that was not reparations, but that was us fighting for our own liberation. And it had nothing to do with white people putting their life on the line for reparations. So they could get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. My bad, I know you.
Yeah, I know it's slick.
But listen, check this. Whoever these Republicans are, they're in disagreement for the I'll say the Confederate reason. And even if they're in a Democratic Party and they're claiming that they support this bill, they are Confederates too. There's Confederacy on both sides. The only way to unite this country is to start with the American freedmen. And again, we equate equality and equity with wealth. And you do that by starting with reparations. And in this case, for New York, you do that with the State Acts of Atonement. Now, we have our own American Freedmen Bill, sponsored by the Freedmen champion, Nikki Lucas, who's a stateswoman, and she was out in Brooklyn recently and had a reparations forum. And we cooked James Sanders Coonan ass, and she called all of them. She was calling out names. So the next step would be to challenge this unconstitutional bill, get it out of the law, and put the American Freedmen Bill in its place, because that is a Justice State Act of Atonement bill, where we can even incorporate the California study, so we can get past that study nonsense and start getting to the implementation and the application of repair for the American freedmen. And we can do that on all state levels. So then you get to the recommendations, then you get to the application, then you get to the implementation of this justice by way of the direct cash payments, by way of the institutions, by way of the land grants, protected class status, rehabilitation, reparation centers. Reparations centers. The Office of American Freedmen Affairs, that will be a reparations center exclusively for the American freedmen. Not all black people. Michelle Solange, you are not invited. Joy Reid, you are not invited. Do not pass go. Do not collect $0. You get nothing. The Haitian lady who's the spokes secretary or whatever, you're not invited. Kamala, Imhoff Harris, Kamala, you would not be invited into that, because that institution is not for you. And it will be owned and controlled by people like Newstoter, who are American freedmen first. I dropped the fucking mic. And I can still go on, but I won't.
All right. Thank you, Freeman. Definitely try not to drop any F-bombs either, y'all. Definitely I know everybody's going to be passionate about this tonight as well. For those just getting into space, and for those that's coming in on YouTube, we're talking about the New York reparations study that they're going to be conducting. I guess it'll be similar to the one out there in California. We're also talking about the Navy Federal Credit Union That's been just a complete sham of how they've been just stiffing black people on these mortgages. I covered that before. A lot of you guys actually got up in the space as well too. Rella, she gets a chance. She had some issues with him herself as well too. So when she gets a chance, she'll come up here and discuss that. We're also talking about Rudy Giuliani, quote unquote, at one time America's favorite mayor. Let everybody tell it. Rudy just got taxed for what 145 million, 150 million, and the people and the sisters suing him again too because he's still defaming them. He still hasn't learned to shut his mouth up as well too. So that's what we're talking about tonight as well. I know we got a number of people up in the space that's from New York, so I definitely want to hear what you guys got to say about this as well too. I see we got some of our reparationists up in the actual room, so it's gonna be good to have people come up to the microphone and definitely voice their opinion about the actual matter as well too. Like I said, tonight we got a pretty heavy space. Like I said, we covering all different topics dealing with black people, black Americans as well. So definitely, I definitely want to hear what everybody's got to say about this situation, the New York reparations, the Navy Federal Credit Union, the way they've been stiffing black people on the mortgages in comparison to white folks, and Rudy Giuliani, Trump's boy, didn't learn when to shut his mouth up, and now he's got to pay, and he's trying to find a way to squirm and weasel out of that paying those sisters 140 some odd million. Now we know he's not going to come up with that kind of money if he even has that kind of money, but he's got to pay something up. He's going to have to pay something. So crazy thing, Freeman, real quick. I'm going to get to Dark and Lovely, but I saw Reverend Damian Jones' name up in that article from the Neo Jim Crow, our curation partner I was reading. Is that the Damian Jones that's here on Twitter that be up in the spaces sometimes?
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with. I didn't see that part.
Let me go back real quick before I go to Dark and Lovely. I'm going to read this real quick. GOP strategist Reverend Damian Jones also called the committee a lie that was being promoted by dishonest Dem governors and insisted to his followers that reparations will not be paid in your lifetime. Now, I've had Reverend Damian Jones up in the actual in the Newstoter Twitter spaces before, so I'm wondering if that's the same Reverend Damian Jones. If you guys put in Damian Jones, the brother, he's been up in the spaces before and stuff. He's a follower of mine. I think I follow him as well too. So I'm wondering, is that the same Reverend Damian? Because I only know one Reverend Damian Jones up here. And most of the time, these Republicans, white ones, don't go by the name Reverend this and that, whatever. So I'm thinking that's got to be the same Reverend Damian Jones. If he gets a chance, hopefully, I hope he'll stop by the space tonight and I can ask him if that was actually him as well as said that comment. But I'm thinking that's got to be him. But nonetheless, and I do, and like you, I find it so offensive because when they start talking about when this peckerhead set up here talking about that, and this is an insult right here. He's gonna sit up here and talk about that people died. It was paid for. Reparations was paid for because people died and fought. Like you said, a number of our people came right out of slavery, left them plantations, went up here and fought. So don't sit up here and talk about something that you had black people also up here dying for, people that actually stemmed and turned the tide of the actual war. They're the ones that really helped America win by Abraham Lincoln's own admission. They were the ones that actually turned the damn tide of the war. And you sitting up here talking about, well, it was already paid for and this and that. This is the only kind of way you can only assault black people saying some crap like this right here. It was already paid. No, not a damn thing was paid for whatsoever. The debt now is growing and growing. The longer we go ahead and put this off, this debt continues to grow with all kind of compounding interest and everything else tacked onto it as well too. We got the sister Dark and Lovely waiting, so I'm not gonna keep her. But Dark and Lovely, how you doing tonight, sweetie?
Hey guys, how are you? Thank you, Newstoter, for letting me speak. Shout out to the room. So I was initially like really upset with the New York reparations bill today, but I'm back and I'm good. At the end of the day, none of this would have moved, without us, without the grassroots that are rooting for lineage-based. The only reason they even moved a bill is because of what we were already doing. They were just trying to get ahead of what we're doing. But New York advocates and reparationists, we won't be deterred. We're not faltering or anything of that sort. We're actually going to use their own words against them. Charles Barron, when he first put out the first reparations bill, the bill was for $250,000 apiece for for Black people in New York. So we're also going to use those numbers against them, but they can't beat us. It's just not going to happen. We have the truth on our side. We also have the knowledge on our side. We have the facts on our side. Shout out to Devon and Freeman and Naheem, and we have the brothers on our side that have the knowledge. We have the facts. So they won't win. You know what I mean? At first, I was a little upset that this bill went through, but you know what? At the end of the day, you know what? F it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's come on. Let's do it. Let's get it over with. And like I said, we have the facts on our side. We are here and we're ready and we won't be thwarted. And I know we're gonna prevail. So at this point now, the way I feel about reparations, you know what? If you're gonna bring these BS bills, bring them all. Bring them all through the whole damn country so that we can get this over with and get it settled. And because we're gonna prevail, we're gonna win. Because like I said, we have the facts on our side and we have wonderful brothers with knowledge that they just can't defeat. So I was upset at first, but now, you know what? Good. I'm glad it's here. Let's bring it, let's go, and let's get it over with. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, sister. How many BS studies do we need, though? I mean, how every time it comes to something like this, why is it always a study? And then they talk about it's supposed to take place in 2025 or whatever. It's always a study. It's always, some kind of test or quiz or whatever. We gotta form a commission and we gotta sit down and burn the oil at night. And I mean, just why does it forever takes this long right here? It's always, some kind of study, and it's a way of trying to put things off. Go ahead, sister.
And because we are the only group in this country that have our own working against us. So James Sanders is a Black American, you know what I mean? And he's working against us. Al Sharpton is involved. We didn't even hear his name until now. I didn't figure he had anything to do with it, but now all of a sudden, he's at the forefront. So this is white supremacy. This white supremacy is not anti-Black. This white supremacy in this country is anti-Black Americans. So this is our reality. So I don't even question anymore, why we got to do it state by state, why we got to do it city by city. I just get my energy up, get my mind ready, pay attention to what I'm being taught, like I said, by my brothers Naheem, whoever, Newstoter, whoever's spreading information, and I'm ready for the fight. It's almost a compliment. That's how I'm looking at it. This is what y'all want, this is what we'll do. And check this out also. I'm glad that Ed Bloom is coming to shut down all these Black programs and things of that sort, because guess what? We're going to run behind him and we're going to do the same exact thing. So it's okay. It's fine what they're doing. I would rather everything just come. Just come on. Everybody just come on with their nonsense. Narcan and Cobra is not going to stop. They're backed by a monster that we cannot compete with as far as finances, but we can compete with the truth, and we can't compete with our minds, and we can't compete with our union. And I stand on that, and that's the hill that I'll die on. So I'm not deterred, I'm not faltered, and I'm not worried. We're going to win, and that's how that's going to go down. So thank you for letting me speak.
All right. Thank you, Sister Freeman. I'm going to get to you, but I want to get to the new speakers. Let me go ahead and get to Naheem and get to Original, and I'll get back to you. Naheem, what's going on with you tonight?
Peace. What's going on, Newstoter? Shout out to the fam that's in the building. Sister Dark and Lovely, Brother Prime, what's going on? It's crazy because I could barely get on Twitter Spaces. I don't know what's wrong with my Twitter, but today I've been able to get on them, and I've been extremely busy. Here's my concern with what happened in New York today. And I was listening to my sister Dark and Lovely, and I had that same sentiment at one point until I thought long and hard about what I believe is taking place with these Democrats who are trying to play a long game, and they're using reparations to play that long game. For them, it is all about securing power. And most of the opposition that we've received from or about reparations on the app particularly has come from the Black immigrants who are tied to the Democratic Party, those individuals who support the bill that just got passed in New York, right? These are, I don't even know if they know what the long game is, but they're playing the game nonetheless. And so what happens is Bloom comes, in his what is it? American Alliance for Equal Rights or something. Like, the name is funny as hell to me. But he comes and he sues, right? And they shut it down because it's on his website. Racial reparations is one of the things that he will be coming after, and he's going to win. He's going to get it shut down. And the problem is, if it goes to the courts and a decision comes in and it says we're going to, let's just say New York tries to counter sue, and the decision comes in. I mean, not New York, excuse me. New York. They try to counter sue, and the courts come back and say, we're dismissing this with prejudice, which means that decision is final. And usually, with prejudice, decisions means that particular case cannot be brought again. And what that may do is set precedent all over the United States. So I have my concerns with Bloom. I'll shut all that shit down, to be honest with you. My thing is, it shouldn't have never have gotten out of the block to begin with. And there are people that are actively working against us. They pretend like they are, fighting for reparations. They sound like us, they talk like us, but we know that they're first and second generation immigrants. And we, as a people, we have to be very, very careful because these people are not our friends. We can't do appeasement politics. We got to put a gate up, and we got to make sure that those people are nowhere involved in what we're doing. And that's another reason why I've hardly even been in the Twitter spaces, because, we're past the talking point. We are actually on the action part of our plans and what we're doing to advance this movement. And them trolls can't stop anything that we're doing at all. And whatever we do is going to be successful. Bloom will not be able to defeat what it is that we're doing, because we're not doing race work. We're not doing race-based reparations. So I just kind of wanted to come up here and kind of give my concerns about how this thing may go in the courts, because setting precedent in a system that uses what's also known as like sister case law, it can be dangerous. So, I'm thinking, and I'm just saying this to my New York family while y'all up here and while y'all listening, Bloom shouldn't be the one that brings that lawsuit. It should be the U.S. Freedmen Project. United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen is here to give an amici on behalf of U.S. Freedmen Project. So, we're going to put it in the public because it's already done. We can do the strategizing behind the scene, but it's time to start letting these lawsuits fly. I believe we should be the ones to shut it down. We should not give Bloom that opportunity, because what's going to wind up happening is it's going to be not only effective, but it's going to be reflective when they try to sue these other reparations programs, which might be ours. And we, like I said, we're trying to get to the point where it never even reaches strict scrutiny. Everything that we have drafted up, it will never get a strict scrutiny review. So I just wanted to get up here and say that.
Okay, and can I say one thing to Naheem? And this is the type of knowledge that I was talking about. That's a great point. Like, right, we have to bring these lawsuits, and you're saying so that if Bloom does it, right, okay, he's on the opposite side. Okay, once he does it, he can put it to where it can't be even challenged again, so we can't even bring our lineage-based thing back again. This is what I'm talking about when I say, we have the knowledge and we have the truth on our side. But we'll converse more, Naheem, and we'll converse to the room. I just wanted to make sure I understood exactly what you were saying, and thank you for that.
And let me just say real quick, right? It's not for certain, but there's that possibility lingers. And
Naheem, that is our reality in this country. They work together to make sure that we don't have anything. So that makes 110% perfect sense. And it's okay that I didn't think of that and you thought of that, because this is what we're supposed to be doing. assisting each other no matter where you are. So thank you. You just gave me something. You're gonna keep me up tonight, but that's all right. You just gave me something else to think about, and yeah, I'll land there. Thank you, Newstoter, for letting me. Sorry for interrupting, but thank you.
Let me just end with this, Newstoter. Right, this fight is crucial because election season is heating up, and I believe that was the same Reverend Damien, that clown dude, because I was in this space earlier, and I came right on the stage and shut down everything he said, and all he did was ignore everything that I said to keep pushing the same BS and bogus narrative. He's agreed to have a conversation with me. Matter of fact, we might do that right here on the Newstoter space. I don't know. I'm gonna be a little busy over the next couple, but if I get some daylight in between, I might entertain that dude because he's easy work. But this fight for reparations is like I don't want to say it's like this one shot deal. I don't want to do that, but I feel that way. I feel like if we don't get it done right now, they're going to use every means to shut the door in our faces. And Narcan and Cobra and Kichi Taifa, seeing Reverend Al Sharpton there, and that guy, he comes from out of my hood in Queens, my housing project. I don't know the dude. My mother, she said she don't know the dude. She said, she heard some things about him from back in the days. But these people are there to ensure that the Democrats remain in power to catch and kill this reparations thing. There's no other reason why you have Al Sharpton up there other than to make it seem as if this is something that Democrats are pushing. And we know full well that Narcan and Cobra, all of their operatives, and Kichi Taifa, Jam Ayuyar, Cam Howard, etc., are in fact Democrats. They're Democrats. And if we don't get this thing done right, we're going to let these people win this fight. And you could not like Naheem. That don't mean you can't sit at the conference table where I'm sitting at, because we're going to make sure that we get this thing done right. And if you're about making sure this thing gets done right, pull up a chair. You could come learn from us because we have a lot to teach and we have a lot to learn as well. Peace.
Right. And I want to say one more thing. We from New York, we're from California. We're from the big main states in this country. So none of us, none of us are responsible, from where we're from. But it's going to start here. It's going to end with us. And I want to say thank you, Newstoter, because this is the importance of having our own media. Do you see how y'all just caught that with the guy that came into a space, and now the guy is standing up there with Governor Hochul? I don't even know who y'all are talking about. But this just shows us, that staying on point and keeping our eyes open is so important. And our Black American news medias are really, really important to connect the dots for us. So I just want to say thank you for that, Newstoter, because I have to go and look and see who Damien is, because I have no clue of what y'all even talking about. I don't even know what guy was standing up there. So
he was not. He's a GOP strategist. Yeah.
Oh, he's a strategist. Okay.
For the GOP, yeah.
Oh, for the GOP.
Yeah, he was.
Let me real quick, Newstoter. When you hear like Nikki and Luke and Shut Up and the rest of these Democratic shill trolls holding these spaces that are like pro-Democrat, he does that for the Republicans and the Black Republican base. Okay. So he's like it's hard to say antithesis because they kind of pushing the same message. They're only antithetical when it comes to their political party. But when it comes to trying to thwart our efforts for remedial justice, they are two rays shining from the same bad light. So I just wanted to point that out.
I'm going to need you to leave the big words behind tonight.
I'm going to say this real quick, Naheem, and I know, like you said, you've been pretty busy and stuff like that, but if we can get you and him to have a little, even if it's not a debate, so to speak, or whatever, but just, a little conversation or whatever, like, I would love to go ahead and definitely, get it here.
Look it up, bro. Easy work. We could call it a discussion. either way, it's gonna be easy work.
And I swear, you guys, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just want to understand before I get off the stage. So he's a. Give me 1 second, Freeman. So he's a Republican, but what did he have to do with today? Just so I can understand before I come off the stage.
No, he was just, and let me read it real quick because this was just, the article I read on. You had a bunch of Republicans that were kind of, kicking. They don't even want to talk about the actual reparation type thing going on as well too. But this is just what he had to say real quick. Let me find it real quick. It says GOP strategist Reverend Damian Jones also called a committee a lie that was being promoted by dishonored Dem governors and insisted to his followers that reparations will not be paid in your lifetime. So he's telling his followers that, hey, this was, basically this is just a smoke and mirror show, and hey, reparations is not going to be paid in your lifetime. So that's basically what he was saying.
Okay, got it. Thank you guys, and thank you for the room for letting me speak. I appreciate y'all.
All right, Freeman, I'm gonna get to you, but let me go ahead and get to Original real quick because he's been waiting for a long time, and like you say, Naheem, I'm gonna try to go ahead and set that up as well too. So I know your schedule's pretty busy and whatnot. I'll see how his schedule is, and we can chat in the back room and everything else like that in the back spaces and see what's up. Go ahead, Original, you got it.
And I just want to say, please, Black Power and Reparations, forgive my voice. I'm just getting over a sore throat. But I'm going to start with Giuliani that you started. I find it amazing that they said that Giuliani was worth like over $100 million. And then all of a sudden, when all this stuff started going on, even the so-called left-wing media is saying that he's broke. That just doesn't seem impossible. And see, I live in Atlanta, but had I known that was going on with Mrs. Ruby Freeman, hell, I'd have set shotgun at her front door and shot anybody that walked up to the damn house. No, that's the attitude that we're gonna have to take on, because let people know, if you're gonna roll up on us, you're gonna roll away, because you ain't gonna leave there alive. And we don't give a damn who you are. Yeah, we know how to change your guns and this, that, and whatever. So, hey, I'm here with my gun. My gun has been fired.
Don't say too much, Original, but go ahead.
Okay. All right, I'm just pissed off. I'm just pissed off right now, But yeah, these people, they need to understand. See, and the reason that we're being treated this way, because we have never had real representation. Basically, you have Adam Clayton Powell, who fought for us. Yes, Cynthia McKinney, but these other folks, they're not even. And you look at that bootlicking sample, Al Sharpton. We all remember when Al Sharpton was sitting in that room and he agreed to allow drugs to be sold in the Black community, and he gonna get a $3,500 kickback for each kilo that came in. And he sat up there and said that he was gonna sue HBO. I have not seen the lawsuit come through yet. What happened, Al? See, I don't call him Reverend because he doesn't get that kind of respect from me. And there's an article. If you all search for it online, you can type in African blood siblings. Let's see, the story of Al Sharpton. And that's an article that someone wrote. And in that article, it documents the split that came down between Al and Attorney Alton Maddox. And I heard Attorney Alton Maddox on a show that No Taxation heard me. I used to call in 2 years ago in D.C. And Attorney Maddox basically said verbatim what is in that article. Al Sharpton is an agent. And people know, and we have to start identifying him as an agent, regardless of because what he gonna do, sue? And for those that have that information about what he did with HBO, what HBO did, where's your lawsuit? Where is that lawsuit? And just like that Naval Credit Union, again, this goes to degenerate representation. Because these old bastardized preachers, regardless of what political party they are from, they don't represent us. As I said before, Dr. Carter G. Woodson talked about these old stank preachers back in the 1930s, and their positions haven't changed. So we need to understand that, and we need to start, backing people across this country that's going to represent our interests. Because I tell you right now, I'm not voting in 24, the only way I will vote for someone is that they're gonna have to push for lineage-based reparations. If not that, I am not gonna vote for you. I'm not sorry to say that. And it was, let's see, what was the last one? And let me say this here. Do you all remember just a few years ago? Remember when they started allowing gay people to marry? But yet somehow in a lot of these states, they could not file as a joint couple. And do you know, because Elizabeth Warren, she pushed it. There was no study. It just came through Congress, and they passed it and whatever. And they passed it so they could get like a back payment of money that they was owed, because they were not allowed to file jointly as a couple. But every time we turn around with reparations with lineage-based reparations for us, I'm gonna stop saying reparations. I'm gonna have to start saying lineage-based, because these people we are fighting against, like somebody mentioned Narcan and Cobra. I'm just gonna say it. They are backed by George Soros. Yes, they are. They get mad when you call out his name, but I don't give a crap. That's who they're backed by. Same thing with Ron Daniels, all of them. That's who is backing them. And see, again, George Soros is a small hat, and I would suggest everybody get that book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, and read it, because we need to start pointing out things about how they have never been an ally to us. They have always came in as an opposition of us. They've never been an ally to us, and so we need to understand that. But I think one of the things that we need to start doing is getting people on the local, state, and federal level elected, so that they can begin to work together and move things in a different direction for us. Now, this right here, this is tired, and we cannot continue this, because it's taking too much energy. And we need to start exposing these people, like Agent Al Sharpton and others, calling them out for what they've done, letting people know that keep asking him, where is your lawsuit with HBO? I thought you were suing them. I think they may have filed paperwork, but it didn't go anywhere. He didn't get any money, because he was willing to say, he had already sold us out. Just like when they sold out Altomatics. That was with that Yusef Hawking case. So Altomatics said that he wanted everybody involved. He wanted to name everybody that was involved. So Al convinced the father to take a check. And so when Altomatics got up from the table, the father and Al Sharpton stayed there. And it's in the article. They said that after that happened, he used to wear those sweatsuits with the medallions, wear medallions. Then he started wearing suits. This degenerate bastard does not represent us, and we need to shut him down. Wherever he is, we have different people going in, and just start shutting him down. Ask him an all kind of question, because he tried to see again. How can you be a leader to a group and you working with the enemy on their media, and you claim you represented them? The two just don't go together. And I'll land with that.
All right. Thank you, Original. I appreciate you as always. Let me give a shout out to my people over there on YouTube. Abdul, Ely, the Riot. I see my girl, Cake. She's over there as well, too. Shout out to y'all. Y'all make sure y'all go ahead and share out tonight's broadcast. I am seriously, I don't know what the hell YouTube is doing over there, but they seriously shadow banning me and everything else in terms of views and just trying to even monetize the channel. They finding all kind of ways to stop that as well too. So definitely go ahead, guys, and share it out, like it, subscribe. I see my boy Professor's over there as well too. Definitely, if you guys have not, visit newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking Black news in Black America. That's newstoter.com, newstoter.com, the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America. Let me see who's next. Freeman. We got Freeman coming up. Anybody else that wants to speak as well, guys, come on up here. Raise your hand. I want to get you. I want to hear what you guys think about the conversation. Rella, I know you may be at work, but I want you to come up here and also give us a lowdown on Navy Federal as well too. I sent you the invite, so whenever you get a chance or whatever, definitely come on up here and share. We're talking about the New York reparations. We're talking about the Navy Federal. We're talking about Rudy Giuliani. We're trying to keep it as much as possible on these topics. So definitely, guys, everybody's doing a great job, and I'm enjoying the actual conversation and the actual information that's being shared as well too. For those that can support us on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. Once again, $Newstoter, Newstoter. If you got $1 that you can donate to the platform, it is greatly appreciated. If you do not have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Same with my people over there in YouTube. We got the Cash App on the actual screen. The Venmo and PayPal is up in the actual description. You guys can also super chat, and you can also send the actual the super stickers as well too. Any little amount helps the actual platform. So definitely, for those that can and able to, we definitely greatly appreciate it. We are independent Black media, and we survive off of your donations and contributions as well too. So for those that can support it, is greatly appreciated. And any amount, whether that's $1, if that's what you have to spare, is greatly appreciated and put to use as well too. Let me go ahead and get to Freeman. I see no taxation. I see Mel. I see Stephanie. I see Ray. I see Rella. I see Black. I see a bunch of y'all down here as well too. I definitely want to get the people, the family, to come up in here and share what they think about this as well too, guys. So when you guys get a chance, come on up here. Don't be shy. Y'all know y'all always come up here and speak, and you know I'm going to go ahead and let you do what you do. So go ahead, Freeman. You got it.
Respect. So, I want to say this. When a Confederate tells you that,
Freeman, can I get you a little bit louder if possible?
the loudest it goes.
That's the loudest it goes.
Oh, yep. So, when a Confederate tells you that slavery reparations is already paid, all you got to do, as the Freeman Conscious family, is tell them that there are still badges and incidents of slavery that have never been paid, and it's still owed today. So one of those badges and incidents is mass incarceration. You got gentrification, which is the new segregation and the new ethnic cleansing and removal of our citizens as American freedmen. So there's so many other things beyond slavery that they want to focus on. But if you understand the history, those pushback or failed arguments can be destroyed with ease. So there is zero moral argument or zero legal argument against reparations. First off, it's in the Constitution, where we have the constitutional right to petition the government for grievances. Again, there is no legal precedent against reparations. And if there is, tell that to the Jews. Tell that to the gefilte fish eaters who get infinite and perpetuity reparations. If that's true, tell that to the Native Americans, who are the 5 slaveholding tribes, and they have enslaved Black people in this country, and they're still getting reparations to this day. So I want to say, people like New Sambo Republic, who is in this space right now, they have supported this New York reparations bill, which is not a reparations bill, while also claiming that they are all ancestry reparations. Nigga, you been exposed.
Real quick, Freeman, don't no name calling. Let's stay. Y'all doing a great job on the topic, but don't get it. Yeah.
But I'll say this, because again, there is zero legal argument against reparations and zero moral argument against reparations. You have to overstand and understand that any precedent against reparations, it's all unconstitutional. All of it is unconstitutional. So even if Ed Bloom set some type of precedent or whatever, all we have to do is root our reparations claim in the Constitution. Let me give you an example. Amendment Enforcement Clause guarantees that we should be getting reparations in perpetuity. The 14th Amendment is an example of the 13th Amendment Enforcement Clause. The 1866 Civil Rights Act is an example of the 13th Amendment Enforcement Clause. So that being said, even the Confederate white man Ed Bloom cannot supersede the Constitution Resolution 153 by the 39th Congress. That's precedent. We have Senate Bill 227, the Establishment Bureau of Freedmen. That's precedent. We got Senate 1176, 1899, provided pensions for American freedmen. That's precedent. We got H.R. 698, the bill to establish in the War Department a relief of freedmen and refugees. Refugees also included the formerly enslaved, not just white people. Gotta say the H for the hate. H.R. 29 proposed in 1866 to give each male head of household and the widow, if he passed, the 40 acres. That is Congress. So again, if we're going to talk about precedent, all of the precedent is on reparations for the American freedmen's side. It's all the precedent on our side. I just want to let Dark and Lovely know that there is nothing to be concerned. There is no concern as far as precedent against us. We got Naeem, we got Ali, we got you. Of course, we got Devon. You understand? We got Josh, Ibrahim. Team Freedman is on. I'm gonna curse. Team Freedman is on deck. Team Freedman is on deck, and I agree with Naeem. It does need to be the United Sons and Daughters of Freedmen and the U.S. Freedmen Project as the face of challenging these bills. We've been talking about that. I said that in my space before, and I want to affirm what he said because it's fact. Freedmen fact to be exact. So, that being said, there is no legal precedent against the American freedmen when it comes to reparations. There is none. And whenever they do that, what Naeem is saying is that it's unconstitutional and they're just going to make us work for it. Are you ready to do the work, Dark and Lovely? I know I am. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. You already know. We ain't laying down for nobody.
Absolutely. So that being said, it'll get done. We need some freedmen conscious lawyers who are willing to do the work too. They are very few and far in between, but they are there. I will never say there is 0% American freedmen lawyers who are willing to put their legal expertise in action. We have a whole history of that. The man just mentioned Alton Maddox. Rest in power to that ancestor. He just recently passed. And he was a great lawyer and an American freedman. Now, Al Charlatan is an op. We all know that. And the fact that he's attached to this New York reparations shows and proves that this bill, that people who go under the racist classification of Negro, it shows and proves what their agenda is. You're taking pictures with James Sanders like shit is sweet, you're an op. Negro, you're an op. Shit is, excuse me, it's not sweet. It's not all good in the hood. Whether you be in Brooklyn or Mississippi, whether you be in Brooklyn or the Bronx or California, it's not all good in the hood. And as a group, collective group, we are wealthless, which is why we measure our equity and equality and justice by way of wealth and power and equity by way of the standard of the American freedmen, exclusively to us. So we have our demands, we got our marching orders, and we are here to take our justice by way of self-determination and by way of putting it into our own hands. So I'll be correct.
All right. Thank you, Freeman. Thank you. Let me give a shout out to my man, Black Pressure, too. Black Pressure, thank you for your contribution on Cash App, as always. Thank you for supporting the platform, bro. Let me go ahead and get to Miss Stephanie. Miss Stephanie, you up in New York, too, right?
Yes, sir.
You got it, sweetie.
Oh, okay. Salute to the entire chat. Everybody was absolutely amazing in what they were saying. We definitely, and I'm going to say it exactly how I'm going to say it, we got to get these house N-words out of the pocket, because they're nothing more than a hindrance to the Black community. But I have a question, okay? And it's just a hypothetical question. How is it possible that everybody else can fight for their own agenda, their own causes, for their own communities? But when it comes to Black America, we have to share with other people of color. And I'm like, okay, so pretty much people are double dipping in Black America's pot. And at some point you do get frustrated, and you get, you get frustrated, and you rant because it's frustrating. We already don't have much anyway, but we got to still share with other people. We've been sharing for a long time, and this is why we're in the position that we're in, because we've been putting everybody else's causes before our own. Okay? Number one, Al Sharpton has been a charlatan since day one. And anytime he wants to be at a table and help sign a bill that will hinder his own people, it's not our people. He's an enemy, just like the rest of these folks. This James Colonel Sanders fellow. They're not our people. They are an enemy from this day forward. Okay? Al Sharpton has taken kickbacks from Michael Bloomberg when Bloomberg was in office. And there is an article that said that he took over $104,000 in kickbacks if he didn't mention to the Black community that he was secretly running for a third term, even though people already knew. But he paid Al Sharpton to be quiet about it. And there's an article about it, okay? He was secretly running for a third term, even though he had eliminated he had installed term limits in it. So after the second term was about to come to a close, he quickly reinstated third term, cut off the term limits, cut it off. And he ran for another term and won with his own money invested in everything. He kept quiet about that. That article came out about, I think, 2018, 2019. So that's up there. Last week he was doing an interview with a Hispanic woman. She's talking about all the things that she wants to do to help her people, the Hispanic people. Not once did she mention people of color, Black and brown, or brown and Black, or however they want to mention. It was never mentioned, not even once. Okay? People have their own agenda. But when it comes to us, we have to say, oh, Black and other people of color. I'm tired of that notion, and I think we really need to start calling that out for them. Okay? Number two, as far as this reparations thing is concerned, we have to still keep fighting. It's unconstitutional. There are things in it I'm not going to say on here right now that I spoke to a couple of people about, and they said it's wrong. So if we want a back channel and we can discuss it even more, we can. As far as Rudy Giuliani, he might need to get some welfare soon, because he's all right. Take care. He might need to get on welfare real soon. Either that, or he can ask his ex-wife, heiress to Hanover Trust Bank down in Hanover. He might need to ask her for a couple of dollars. Okay. As far as the Navy federal, it's nothing new. We've been dealing with it, but people refuse to see it, and I'm glad that they're calling it out. I guess they must be doing it for election year, so we can side with the Democrats and see if all these false promises that they've been making in the first place. So we'll see what happens from there. I'm looking to hear Miss Rella's ideas and see what she got to say. So salute to everybody in the chat. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Let me go ahead and get to Black Majority State. Black, how you doing tonight?
Hello, Newstoter. I'm doing good. On the road as usual. I'm just going to do the title and do it in reverse. Rudy Giuliani, obviously, bleed him dry. I'm not really aware of that case, but whatever it is, take his pockets draining. Navy Federal Credit Union, I'm hearing that story. That is so this is a situation, I have a couple rental properties, and instead of going with traditional banks, I went to credit unions simply because they tend to loan. Their loaning requirements are a little less restrictive. They do higher income to ratio values. They usually do higher loan to value as well on the property. And so I probably contacted between 5 and 10 credit unions before I found the one that would, do 2 properties, because I wanted to do 2 of the properties. And in the state that I'm in, you're able to contact credit unions across the entire state. And then even because I'm on the border of 3 states, you're even able to contact credit unions that border the states as long as they have funding abilities within your state. So that would be my suggestion in terms of shopping around for loans. If ever you're in a situation where one institution, for whatever reason, denies you, don't take that as like the end of the world. Just keep shopping and shopping and shopping around. Don't let them pull a hard credit inquiry, though, because it does affect your credit score. And if you get too many of them, it'll actually drop your score. In terms of the New York reparations, I am very confident that the people that are involved in that have that in under control. I heard something about a precedent being established. So and this is just a suggestion, I'm sure you'll come across it eventually on your own, but in the Second Amendment realm of law, these states are constantly putting up laws trying to restrict Second Amendment rights. And they go through the court system. Supreme Court either denies it or approves it. When they deny it, they just rewrite the legislation. They make a minor change in the legislation, put it back on the books, and then run it through again. So that's where I would look in the law to see how historically they have been able to overcome. And again, this is usually states that are doing it whenever the SCOTUS may kick something back, even under prejudice, because I heard that was mentioned, and I agree that is usually a permanent situation. But if you're going from race-based to lineage-based, to me, that is, even based on what Clarence Thomas stated, that is a distinct difference that the court should recognize as such. And that's all I wanted to contribute.
All right. Thank you, Black. Let me go ahead and get to New Negro Republic. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, peace and love, beloved. How you?
Hey, what's going on? You're a little bit low, Talent. Is there any way we can get you a little bit louder? You got a headset on or anything?
Am I still low? You hear me a little better or no?
It's pretty much the same. Do you got earbuds in or anything?
Yeah, I got AirPods in, beloved. Yeah.
Can you take them out of the pause? That'll get you louder.
Let me explain that.
Oh, excuse me there. I'm sorry.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm chilling, right? I didn't come in here to have no issues, no beef. So I ain't even gonna shake the table in your space. You recording, you doing your thing. But what I did do, I threw in the jumbotron a list of different reparations task forces and/or commissions that's happening around the country. And one of the biggest things that I realized is a lot of people not talking about who's actually on the task force. Individuals position themselves to be on the task force, so the necessary fighting that can happen is not as throwing rocks outside of the building. It's trying to see how we can get some individuals from the inside. If anybody lives in New York City, I mean, and this is why this shit is like hilarious. If anybody live in New York City, y'all know dirty New York politics. Y'all know Democratic shields. Y'all know people that shake hands, and like this is not surprising to me. And that's why I've always had a different strategy, always had a different approach, because you understand New York City politics. By the end of the day, the most important element around reparations literally is the task force members, and how do you call those individuals to preference the voices of the people. Hence why in California, the voices of the people for lineage. Why? Because they had to make sure that the task force is the people that heard it. The politicians signed the bill to study reparations that is going to do what? Create recommendations that goes to who? The group of eligibility. So if there's an opportunity to create the group of eligibility because there's a study done, people just need to go outside and do the work in order to make sure that their voices are heard and make sure that they key in directly with who are going to be the selections on the task force, or try to get on the task force themselves since they reparationists, they set scholars, see how they can qualify. At this point, I don't even understand why people are upset. This shit is happening the same way across the country.
Try not to curse, Talent, but go ahead.
Oh, I apologize. This thing is happening across the country. I was doing some research. Memphis, Tennessee got a reparations commission. Ain't nobody talking about who's on the task force out there, who's and how they carving and crafting it. Like it's Detroit, it's St. Louis, Missouri. It's like St. Paul, Minnesota got a task force for reparations, right? So I don't want to send to New York. Obviously, New York was able to sign a bill, and it's historic, right? Because it gives us an opportunity to preference the history and the legacy of slavery and do the same fighting that we always gonna have to do, because this is the fight we've always had to fight. If anybody think that this is gonna be a landslide, people need to get serious. The majority of our community don't even really know what's going on, right? The media is not showcasing what's going on. So it's gonna take us with no money to galvanize that energy online, sharing information, and also offline, showing up to make sure our voices is heard. The reason why it's easy to see exactly what happened today is because enough people didn't even know about what's going on, so they could be outside the damn door kicking it in and not letting Al Sharpton get clout up or try to pan his ass in. It literally just got to mature up. People got to get more serious, understand that this is politics, baby. This shit dirty, it's nasty, it's conniving. But you know what's missing? The majority of our population outside, making sure that we are acknowledging that we're going through a genocide. This is a state of emergency, and we push it forward. We just got to do the work, continue to get more people advocating and outside. I don't know why people are surprised. This shit been weird.
Okay, I know it seemed like you had some of the folks were saying that hey that they felt that they were trying to shoehorn other groups into the actual reparation claim up there. Now, when I was reading the article, I know it was talking about slavery and the impact of slavery, but then it also talked about racial and structural inequalities as well too. So I mean, to your knowledge, are they trying to go ahead and add other groups to the actual reparation claim up there in New York? Is it going to be for those who are the descendants of chattel slavery? Is it going to be, black people who had to deal with racism in the country as well too? So you can go ahead and Talent and answer that.
The study is open for them to study how slavery and the legacy thereof impacted both people of African descent. So the shit is definitely wide open. Right? No different than California had to vote for lineage. No different than Illinois has an African Citizens Descent Rate Committee, and they had.
We can't hear you. The last part you went out on, so I couldn't hear what you said. But okay, Talent.
Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you. You were speaking, but the last part you went out, so we couldn't hear you.
Oh no! What I said is that it's open language. People of African descent, they're gonna study slavery, but they're also gonna study everything outside of that. They're gonna this is New York, so they're gonna get into mass incarceration. They're gonna get into red bodies. So obviously, it leaves a wide open window for individuals who are not of the lineage to try to get in. And that's why we have to go outside when they are preferencing who is going to be the eligible group to make sure that we stand on lineage. Why? Because the shit was going to get signed. I already knew that this was going to happen.
Try not to curse, Talent, but go ahead.
No. It's just this is the reality that we have to deal with everywhere around the country. Nobody's just automatically throwing it up in the air. Here's lineage, here's this, that, and the third. A lot of the fighting that we're going to have to do is the same thing that happened in California, right? San Francisco started open, and then they finding recommendations, made sure that they did the specificities. So as long as we're showing up, making sure we get our voices on record, making sure that we know the history of slavery in New York City, or New York State, so we can talk about how we are the group that deserves it, why we're the group that needs it, and why it should go to us and nobody else. And that helps support the lineage criteria, as well as making sure that we enforce who should be on the task force, being very serious about who's going to be on the task force. I think people look at California differently because people knew who Camilla Moore was. But people don't know a lot of these other people are a part of all these other task forces around the country. That's why you don't hear that much about them. But the bigger play has to be, how can we get people on these task forces so we got somebody in the building to steer this in the direction that we need it to be. I'm not arrogant about that. I know New York City politics is weird, but that don't mean that we can't show up and fight. And now it's an opportunity to go to the community and say, yo, they done passed something, so let's make sure we get it right. And that's the work that I decided to do, to make sure that once this shit went through, because I know it's going to get signed anyway, to now go into the community to make sure the people I know I grew up with, to get them active, because now it's officially on the record.
All right.
Can I say something real quick?
Well, Dark and Lovely, let me get Rella, because Rella hadn't had a chance to speak. Let me get hey Talent, you got to mute your mic. Go ahead, Rella. Unmute your mic. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Newstoter. How are you?
Hey, what's up now?
Yeah, I was probably going to sit this one out because it just pulls so much energy off of you. It's a lot. But I'll do exactly what Black did. I'll start from the back. Rudy Giuliani is a criminal. The things that he did when he was a representative should have been on the lens of hate crime statistics, to the point where he should have been barred on treason in the state of New York a long time ago. But that to me is a pure representation of I think the focus of the people who represent the New York citizens, especially the descendants in that area. So karma is, coming around quickly. And I agree. I think his pockets do need to bleed dry. And just like any hate monger, they deserve to live in a ditch, and that is the only place that they deserve to live. Navy Federal. So I will quickly give my my experience with Navy Federal. So as like any citizen, I worked at a young age. I started working in government. And what happened was, at the time, I was able to get a pretty good vehicle utilizing my Navy Federal. I come from a Navy family. So at the end of the day, Navy Federal opened my car loan account. I paid on my car loan. The first shutdown that happened between 2009 and I want to say 20, maybe 2012, I want to say, between 2012 and 2013, I got into a situation where, being at home with babies, I could not make my payments in full. So, as a responsible person, I made sure I communicated with the bank. And what Navy Federal did was, I did not know that they flagged particular accounts. And so they flagged my account. I still was making my payments. I was able to make my payments, but my interest, of course, was compounded. And what ended up happening was, even though I made my payments, I got my car loan down to about under, I want to say, $10,000. My car note fell into collections. So a collections officer called me and said, hey, we're going to repossess your car. And I was like, okay, I did not want a repossession on my credit. So what I did was, I had my car appraised by the same people I got my car from, and I paid my loan off with the appraisal amount. Lo and behold, the collections officer, who was an Asian woman, decided that she was so angry that I had found that loophole that she decided that she was going to forge the balance that was owed to me from the appraisal. I think it was left over was $4,000. That was supposed to come back to my account, and she was going to turn that into a personal loan. Forged my name, and somehow the system closed my personal account. And at that time, I did not realize Navy Federal had been investigated by the federal government for actually predatory lending, that they were actually closing people's accounts in that way so that they could not pay on either loans that they had with them. And they were actually charging off accounts and then claiming still claiming and actively going after people for money. So in my situation, for 13 years, even having my business account with Navy Federal denied me any type of resources or loans based on that account that was fraudulently made in my name. And I had been fighting to the death to try to get that corrected. They would not. So much so they even added that to my credit. And I had been fighting to get it off. Finally, I contacted CFPB. And with the CFPB, I was able to actually get it off my credit. But Navy Federal penalized me for reporting them. So when I tell you that the story about the gentleman who was an executive, and even with his standing and the type of money he was making, and they still denied him, I do believe that it wasn't just redlining that also hit our communities. It was the fact that the banks were denying people or they were doing predatory lending. But it has never been, I think, documented in a way where we have, I think, a number of what harms are being done. And so I lead that in to say the reason why I do believe in commissions is because I do believe in federal reparations, of course. I do believe in state and local acts of atonement that are documented, because once federal hits and the money is dispersed, or the federal government says, hey, we want to go ahead and send this state a particular amount of money because when they do approve reparations for lineage base, I do believe that the commission's work that California, I think, also participated and set the groundwork for. Shout out to Dr. Shirley Weber and Maureen, who kicked this off. It's going to be something that all states should want to work towards. And what's happening in New York, the way it's happening, a lot of people don't like it. I have my opinion about it, but I will say this. 2 talents point for the people who are going to show up, and I do love the fact that Dark and Lovely has that passion that she will be there, and I believe she will be there, and I believe everyone in New York who supports New York will be there. You would want some sort of work being pulled together, documented, so that way when federal reparations comes down, they can't come back later and say, okay, well, now you have to do the work. So it has to be, I think, a simultaneously thing that has to be taking place. And how that gets done, I don't think it has to land on any one organization's shoulders. I think it should be on all of our shoulders. And I'm not going to just put people out in the front because I'm a fan of them. I'm going to say that I'm equally as responsible. And that's how I look at it. So the accountability has to be, I think, on all of us. And communication has to be able to be a bridge that we all bear at the end of the day. And I'll land.
All right. Thank you, Rella. I appreciate it. Dark and Lovely, go ahead. I know you were trying to say something.
Yeah, I appreciate Rella's sentiments, but I don't want to hear anything from Talent. You understand? Because the thing is what Talent is saying is that, okay, fine, the bill was going to be passed regardless. So what you're saying is that we should not go to the reparations commissions and try our best to try to raise our voices and show that we do not agree with those bills. Talent went and agreed with those bills. Now, whether we have the power to make that actually go through or not, you understand what I'm saying? I have a problem with people that go and agree with bills that are not specific to Black Americans. So no, I don't look forward to working with Talent. I don't want anything to do with Talent. Talent is a snake as far as I'm concerned. The U.S. Freeman Project is the only project that in New York that is fighting for lineage space. There is no one else on the ground. What Talent is doing is nothing. It means absolutely nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So please don't compare us to him. No, we don't want to work with him. I don't want anything to do with him. As far as what I wanted to say about as far as New York, no, the fight is not over. We're going to fight for lineage space. We're also going to produce lawsuits, and we're going to try to get this shut down. So anybody that's trying to count us out, no, you can't count. But thank you for what you said, Rella. But no, we would rather him go ahead and just stay over there because we don't know what his agenda is. He's trying to get $69.95 to sign people up and all this nonsense. Nobody has time for that. You understand what I'm saying to you? I don't even believe that he's pro-Black American, to be honest. But like I said, we'll continue to fight anybody that's serious and they are stable and they stand on everything. Then we will work with them. As far as that bill, yeah, okay, fine. We're fighting a monster. But that doesn't mean that you just be quiet or let the monster do what they want to do and then fight it later. That makes...
Okay.
Because check this out. Remember this, family. Let me finish this up, please. Remember this, family. Because of the work of the U.S. Freedmen Project, we were able to even get lineage-based squeezed in to the conversation. Now, imagine if we would have went talent way and just let it go through. We wouldn't even be able to squeeze lineage-based in the conversation. So, no, I have no plans on working with talent. He better watch his mouth when I see him in person. And like I said, we're done here. I have no I don't want to work with any snakes. Okay, because the problem is we keep giving these niggas passes. And what happens is when you give them passes, they turn into Al Sharpton. This is what happens. So no more passes. This is not a joke. You understand what I'm saying? And this is how it's going down in New York. And like I said, I see talent in person. So I really don't give a damn, or do I choose to hear from anybody that's not in our face that I'm going to see in person from New York, just like I mind my business when it comes to other people in their state, and I'll land there.
Okay, let me say this real quick, and I think simply all Rella was trying to say was, hey, you know what, just she was just trying to give a shout out to people she felt that was doing the work. We get it, guys. We know a lot of y'all don't.
My sister, she know I talk aggressively.
Yeah, we know. I know. Look, let me go, sister. Let me go. Because I let you go. So let me go. And I'm not trying to. And we, she was just simply saying that, hey, she was just trying to give a shout out to people she felt was doing the work or whatever. But we understand this right here. We understand that most people are not going to work together. We understand a lot of the beefs and stuff that's online, and I'm sure even out there, on the streets as well too. So you're doing your thing, Dark and Lovely. You're doing a great thing. Naheem, Friedman, for the Negroes that's out there that's doing their work, putting in the work or whatever, shout out to them as well too. So we understand, if you can work with somebody, that's a great thing. If Naheem said earlier, even if you don't like him, if you want to sit down at a table and talk with him or whatever, if that's possible, if it's not possible, if it's, such dissension between people or whatever, and you can't get together, then hey, it's best not to get together, not to worry about it, whatever. But like I say, we got respect. We got respect for everything that you guys doing. We understand the Freemen out there busting their tails, trying to get things done as well too. We got respect for the, for different, factions of people on this app or whatever that's actually getting out there doing it as well too. So, I definitely understand, and I hear your passion, sister. You always welcome to speak in the space. So I'm not trying to cut you off or trying to say anything.
I'm not trying to cut you off, but what I'm saying is facts matter. What he tried to do was say that New York was in the same category as California. New York didn't have the grace and the lucky, aspect of having a Shirley Weber that wrote the bill that actually made it for African Americans that descend from U.S. chattel slavery. We didn't have that grace in New York. We didn't have that opportunity in New York. So for him to compare it to California is just not. It's not factual.
Okay, well we get it.
Right, because the thing is, what happened was in California, because they made a bill in California that was lineage-based. Now everybody jumped in front to make sure they wrote bills ahead of time to make sure they weren't lineage-based. So no, we did not have the grace of California. There will be no state that has the grace of California because California already did their thing, and niggas are going to make sure that we do not have that other grace. So what he's doing is not only is he saying his opinion that's not a fact, he's our situation is not the same, and that's a fact. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, no. Like I say, it's no problem, whatever, sister. Like I say, it is what it is, and I understand what you're saying. So, like I'm just saying that we were just trying to keep the actual convo on the actual reparations, New York. But I get what you're saying. Don't think I don't get what you're saying or whatever. But like I said, I know how certain situations are on this app and stuff like that as well too. So, it's no stress, anything to it, whatever, like I say. And I congratulate all our people that's doing it, because, hey, I appreciate the work. I look at it like you guys are doing stuff for all of us. So that's how I look at it. I'm grateful. There are things that, that I'm not skilled enough to go out there and do that. A lot of y'all are actually doing. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the work and the time and the effort and the energy that everybody's putting into this. So, it's love on our end. That's how I feel about it, just to be real about it. Let me go ahead and get to Kelly. Kelly, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right. Can you guys hear me clear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I'm in a dressing room, so I apologize. But yeah, I was listening to what was going on, and with respect, I'm not even going to touch on Rudy Giuliani because, yeah, I was aware, did watch the trial and listen to the sister talk about how, based on what he said and things that he alleged against her and her mother, that allow white supremacists to traipse all up in her mother's house, which was ridiculous. So I think the amount that he is awarded to pay pales in comparison to what he needs to be paying, but that's a story for another day. As far as Navy Federal, that's just basically redlining 2.0, and I guess it just affected more than just our people, our freedmen people. So now people are starting to bring attention to it. But as far as getting to the reparations and situation that happened in New York, with people saying, oh, well, there's commissions and we can just wait and then get on those commissions and then fight. The problem is that what tripped up most of these legacy organizations was when California did what California did and got as far as they did, like everybody's been saying, with the lineage-based criteria. That messed up the Narkson and Cobras and the Sheila Jackson Lees and everybody on the Hill, because they were afraid, and still are, that is going to be the blueprint that will be used on the federal level. So now we see this mad dash of different commissions popping up all over the country because they are flooding the water, so to speak, so that they can be, meaning these treasonous legacy black or freedmen organizations that are not working in our interest. They're looking for their bottom dollar, what we call out here stealing paychecks, just up there stealing paychecks. They are not doing any work, but they are collecting their checks. But they figure if they just set up all these weird jackleg, Negro-rigged commissions all over the country, now we are working in reactionary mode. And that was something that Cam Howard was saying the other day in the spaces. He was saying, well, let's just get the commission first, and then we can do it. That's just basically saying, let's seal our fate, and then we'll sit at the table and try to argue and try to, quote unquote, symbolically hold people accountable. It is too late then. But we are running and trying to get, when I say running, literally like on boots on the ground, trying to get on these commissions reactively, because it's like saying it's these commissions that are being set up are equivalent to a pregnant woman that's in her 9th month. The baby is here. So what are we going to do about it? We can't put the baby back. We can't not let it be born. It's coming whether we like it or not. So the only thing that we can do at this point on a reactionary level is to be there to give the pushback. Because they are trying their hardest. They were trying with the Chicago situation. They kept bragging and almost breaking their elbows, patting themselves on the back, that they wanted the situation going on in Evanston to be the blueprint on the federal level. Because let's face it, there really should not be, in retrospect, any reparations commissions going on nationwide, because it should be on the federal level. That's where it should be, because I'm not hearing anyone say categorically, with the exception of California, because I will give credit to one of the economists that suggested that be put in there, that the state reparations in no way is a substitute for whatever is going on the federal level. And I don't hear it enough in some of these weird areas. And no offense, because I am from the East Coast, originally born and raised in New Britain, Connecticut, but I'm seeing stuff in New Hampshire and in Wyoming and freaking Oregon and all this weird stuff going on. But they're setting themselves up for failure, because if you look at the bills or whatever they wrote, there's nothing saying that what they're doing on a state level does not take the place of what we are trying to push for on the federal. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. And anybody else that wants to come up here to speak as well, too. I see Cognitive up in the space. Ely the Riot, I know you were up here, but you never raised your hand, so I didn't know if you want to speak anything. I know you came up in the speaker section, but you never did raise your hand, so I didn't know if you actually wanted to get into the conversation or anything like that as well. The thing in Evanston too, man, that is a complete joke right there. Basically, you're giving people money to go ahead and put down payments and try to actually buy houses and stuff. I mean, and you got a lottery picking people to see who can actually it's just a complete disgrace. But yet Evanston gets touted as this great model for reparations. Is really dangerous, to be honest. It is a complete joke. We've done a couple spaces on the whole Evanston reparation thing as well too. It should not be taken seriously at all. So like I said before, shout out to all you guys that's out there doing the actual real work and putting in the actual work as well too. And I think we all in agreement, and I would hope all of us are in agreement in this actual space that if it's not lineage based, then it's nothing. It's got to be simply lineage based. It can't be anything other than that. And I know when they start exploring like the actual impacts of slavery and mass incarceration and everything else, that true enough played a major part in it. But it kind of opens up the door for a lot of things as well too. So I think really, I really would hope that the actual reparations stays strictly on the actual descendants of actual chattel slavery. Personally, I think that's where we need to go ahead and stay at. And I think that best serves everybody if we go ahead and we keep it right there where it's at, the actual descendants of chattel slavery. Once again, guys, for those that can support on Cash App, we got my man Black Pressure to support. But like I said before, for those that have $1 that they want to contribute to the actual platform, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. We definitely need your support. Once again, $Newstoter. If you don't have Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Same for my people over there and YouTube land as well too. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. For you guys that don't have Cash App, the PayPal and Venmo is in the description. Also, like I said, we do have the super chat, and we also do have the super stickers available as well too. And we definitely need that support, being independently owned, Black American owned media apparatus as well too. So if anybody that can support it, anybody has $1 that they can spare to the platform, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Okay, I see we got some hands up here, and I see we got Africa. I know you was up here before. Africa, you were in one of the spaces I think we did maybe last week sometime. So if you want to speak, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to speak, go ahead and raise your hand up. Don't come off the microphone, but raise your hand up. I know you may have something you want to contribute to the conversation, and we'll. I see you getting a thumb down for Cognitive, but nonetheless, you come up here, we'll give you a chance to speak as well too. DJ, did you want to say something before I get to Mel, or you want to go first? Because I know you had your hand up. You were next, actually.
Ooh, ladies first. Don't Mel from the show.
What's up, Mel? How you doing?
Newstoter, Newstoter, come on.
Definitely support $. Got to be your own advertisement. We don't have commercials on here, so $Newstoter for those that can support.
You know what it is? Shout out to the room. This thing is really just. I was just sitting here, and you know what? I love every single bit and ounce of energy going on in this room, and I appreciate the disagreements going a level or two because it's actually providing clarity to understand what each side is talking about. Whether you agree or disagree, it's providing that clarity, and that's the good thing because we get to understand. But my thing is, and I don't care what state it's in, these people that are coming up with coming up with these commissions, this lady in Holcomb, standing there in front of the podium as though she's really doing something. When these government officials decide that they're, hey, we're going to do something for y'all, they need to hear the crowd pressing outside. They need to hear the crowd murmuring outside, like when we, back in the day when there were major verdicts that we were, that the country was waiting on a verdict to come down, like for Trayvon Martin and the situation, with George Floyd and all this. That's the level of intensity that we got to have when they keep coming up with these nickel and dime, temporary Band-Aid, I want to cuss so bad, Band-Aid type solutions. And they're only suggesting these things to placate us. Now, the dummy Black American is supposed to be like, oh, see, they getting ready we about to get these reparations. Go on and vote for all these folks. That's all that is. It's a sidewinding distraction. And if Brother Muko calls it a distractionary, y'all know what he's saying. That's what this is. And this crap about, well, we're going to study it, and I ain't the first to make the statement every single time. Y'all don't need to study nothing else about Black Americans and the crap we've been through. Why are we talking about Navy Federal and what they've done? Navy Federal is not the first one to do it. Y'all don't need to study nothing anymore. Go to the bank account, see how much is in there, and cut the damn check. And if they're going to keep placating us like this, we need to be outside. Now, we're waiting on your decision, political official, and it better be the right one, or we about to tear up some shit. This agreement that we're going to create a commission. We can't wipe our jazz with this create a commission crap. And it's just really pissing me off because as we're focusing now on this local crap, how much energy is really pressing on the federal piece? And they're doing all this stuff federally while we're distracted on the local and knowing good and well the local ain't about to give us nothing. These local states and cities and counties and blocks is not about to give us reparations. They are faking the funk and trying to keep us distracted. And then once we come to that conclusion and realize it, then let's turn our focus back on the federal piece. They done wrote all kind of laws that we can hang that up too. So we need to be outside and make the heat rise because we outside would make the wrong damn decision. We own your J's. I'm just so tired of us. I'm just tired of this, of us being fed this BS. And we, are trying to find ways to, and listen, the suggestions made, the plans made, definitely solid plans. We just need another entity that's going to, be present while we're doing those other things. Somebody else is going to be standing outside. I don't know, but I'm just tired of the status quo. I'm just tired. I feel like I'm getting played. That's how I'm feeling, and it's really pissing me off. And everybody and their mama is getting paid. Every damn body's getting a check, but we got to be studied. But they hiding all of our history and shutting down all the books. But we got to be studied. They didn't study Ukraine. I'll land.
Thank you, Miss Mel. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead, Rella, I'm going to get to you and I'm going to get to Black, but this is going to be funny right here. I want to get to Africa. I want to see what he's got to say as well, too, Africa. Like I said, I know you was in the space before, but I know you kind of left out before, so hey, we want to hear what you got to say about this right here.
I say what I say and I leave. People don't like the truth. So that's why. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just listening right now.
You had your hand up, so I assume that you wanted to say something about the discussion.
So what are we talking about? Reparations?
We talking about we talking about the New York reparation study that they're going to be they're forming or whatever, because of course it's a study. So what's your thoughts on the actual situation? Because everybody in this space for the most part believes it should be lineage based. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think reparations should always be lineage based. You know what I'm saying? Because Black people globally was colonized by different nations.
No, we're talking about we're not talking about globally. We talk about here in the United States of America, because New York.
I know that. Well, I just gave you a reason why I think it should be lineage based.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but we're talking about, but I'm going to give you an example. We're talking about lineage based here in the United States of America, because last I looked, New York is in the United States of America. So that's what we're talking about.
I mean, yeah, I think reparations should be lineage based. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I think black people is not organized enough, one, and then two, I don't think that the U.S. government, the same government that has something to do with the transatlantic slave trade, is going to give us money just because 400 years passed up. I don't think that's how that works. The same people that's in power now was the same ones enslaving black people, sending them over here, and made breeding farms and everything else. So reparations to me is something that we would have to take. I don't think asking or marching or legislations, any of that stuff is going to really do much because of who we dealing with. We dealing with a group of people that only know how to do is take. I mean, the U.S. government got military bases in other countries just in case these people say no. So I don't understand why we think that we can ask for something like that, and then they just going to give it to us.
Well, generally, when black people get something done in this country, it's just not asking. They actually put the actual effort and energy behind things as well, too. So it's never been just, hey, will you guys allow us to vote? Will you allow us to do this? So normally it's never that. It's always action behind the actual words and everything else they put into play as well, too. But I get what you're saying about the military bases and stuff like that, because I know in Africa, there's something with like, and you talk about the United States, but I have to believe over in Africa, it's something like anywhere from 25 to 30 different military bases on the actual continent, foreign bases as well, too. So I get exactly what you're saying, but I believe reparations should be lineage based, and globally, I support reparations for all black people in the world. I do. I think every black person in the world deserves it, but I think over here in the United States of America, I believe those that was descendants of slavery, chattel slavery, they're entitled to actual reparations here. I believe the black people back in Africa deserve it for colonization. I believe the black people in the Caribbean, they deserve it from their colonial masters as well, too. So, I think that, reparations get done and everything else like that. I think for the actual chattel slavery, black Americans should be getting reparations. That's my personal opinion. But thank you, Africa. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you, Newstoter. So definitely to Dark and Lovely. You a firecracker, and you got it. And so I have no doubt that you're gonna be knocking down doors. And again, my dad used to tell me, and he still tells me, never take any wood nickels. And he says, you never let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. And you have to be able to allow cooler heads to prevail, right? So the reason why I'm going to hold the venom that I could actually break this entire room down with is because it's not helpful to point out things that are important for all of us to view. I agree with Mel. I understand her being tired. I understand the weight of always having to say, okay, well, we have to have a study, we have to have this, that, and the third. But I want to caution, I want to put out this perspective. Henrietta Leck's cells were stolen from her, and they were used for human healing powers for the entire world by pharmaceutical companies. If they went ahead and said, hey, we want to repair the Lack's legacy and their family, we just want to throw some money at them. Do you realize without the investigation, the investigative research to truly go after not just the pharmaceutical companies, but the benefactors and families of companies, large insurance companies, names that have to be uncovered and put into a collection of a document so that you know how and who you're going to go after to get all of the monies. That is work. And as tiring as it is, that is work. And unfortunately, because we have not had a full representation of people who were willing to actually put that type of collection of statistical information, research, and investigative journalism together, here we are. And it's going to take all of us to actually get in front and behind what is happening in all of the states. So I appreciate when people inadvertently give you information. Because if it's something that you didn't know already, you now have something you can go on and do some more research on. And we now know, which I've already known, that there actually was more than the list that Talent posted. There have been reparation commissions and things like that going on. Virginia had one some years ago. They passed reparations. No one talks about it. I mentioned it one time. And it wasn't reparations. You know what it was? It was people who got together out of guilt and said, we want to give this particular community, because slavery was here, we want to give them something. And it was a church. And instead of them actually doing a comprehensive study and saying, you know, we really need to go deep down and get even to the freedmen organizations, the Black American Negro organizations that were all up and through Virginia, they didn't do that. They were only focused on that one area. Why? Because there was no representation like what happened in California. And that's the reason why I pointed out Maureen and Dr. Shirley Weber, because Dr. Shirley Weber at the end of the hearing said, she said, I'm a Black American. I'm an African American. She might have said African American, but I thought she said Black American. And she said, even with her travels to Africa, and she talked about how wonderful the different, you know, cities that she had been to, she said there's nothing like her lineage here and the things that need to be repaired here. Those are the things I pay attention to. That information, because that drives me to want to dig deeper to gather more information on why it is we have to do what we have to do. And it sucks. It sucked like hell because no one else is doing it. Al Sharpton and them are not doing it. They sat behind that lady while she's smiling in their faces like, here you go, I'm going to just give you this little cookie. And guess what? We have to be ready. You got to be ready to get down. And they don't need to know. We went to Howard University. I went to Howard University. I met up with a couple of other Freedmen brothers that came up there. Josh and Fearless came, and a couple of other brothers. And we sat in there. We listened to the Pan-Africans' view and their position. Cam, Howard, and Daniels talk about, you know, their push for globalization for reparations. The Sexy Raw had a space, and she talked about how they're not concerned overseas about our repair here in the way that we are. So what we're doing works for us here. And this is our concern, and I think it's rightfully so. Black majority state and the migration, the movement to get our people around each other, the ability for us to actually start to create a stronger fortress amongst each other. We have not, because we have not collectively, and I agree with African right there, we have not collectively gotten together and say, okay, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to have a conversation about moving forward? Everybody's still fracturing, trying to do whatever they want to do. That's why someone like I think Talent can get up in a space and go into a room and say that he's going in a room trying to get in position. I don't know what I can't call what he truly is doing yet. I see what's happening. I'm not blind. But if I have to keep myself open so that way we keep communication open. I was just talking to Friday about this. You got to be willing to put your issue aside. It cannot be bigger than the mission. You cannot stifle the mission because of the issues you have with someone. I don't like, it's not a secret. I don't like Naheem. I say it all the time. But if I had to be in a room to have a conversation about reparations and showing up, I would do it. Because my issue is not bigger than the mission. And that's point blank in a period.
Okay, can I
have to work?
Hold on, Dark and Lovely. Hold on.
I have to work with him on everything that I'm doing or everything that has to be done in Virginia or anywhere else? No. But when it counts, I think showing up does matter. So at the end of the day, I think that I'm not pushing nobody to work with talent. That I hope that was not the message. But the message is that you have to be able to make sure that you keep yourself open to even things that you are not going to like, so that you are ready to strike. And I'll let.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Let me read a comment real quick over there on YouTube. Crimson Tide said, nothing happens in a government without a study. That's how this works. To say no more study means no reparations ever. So that is Crimson Tide's opinion over there. But the only problem, Crimson Tide, is that when all of these studies and stuff, it doesn't take a whole lot of studies for them to do things for other groups as well, too. So I get what you're saying. And studies don't take forever either. When they really want to do something, they go ahead and do it. So I get what you're saying. You got to have studies and everything else as well. But it seems like when it comes to black people, that's all they want to do is a study, and then nothing else followed up behind it with actual real action. So that's a danger that lies with actually always having studies. Once again, guys, I'm going to drum it up. The support for Newstoter for those that can support on Cash App. Like I said, we're still trying to get a $1 donation as well, too. We got one, $sign Newstoter, $sign Newstoter. So for anybody that can support, once again, $sign Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned Black American platform, not YouTube channel, not Twitter page, not Facebook, not Instagram, platform. So when you support Newstoter, you're supporting a Black-owned Black American news media platform. So once again, $sign Newstoter, $sign Newstoter. Like I say, we here, $1 donation, we put it to use. So let me go ahead and get to matter of fact, let me get to Stiletto. So I want to get to somebody that hasn't actually spoke. Let me get to Stiletto. Stilettos, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for hosting this space and peace and reparations to the room. I just want to say that I am sincerely disappointed about the bill in New York. I personally have worked in my team with the U.S. Freedmen Project prior. They were really instrumental in helping us with the Boston bill. So I want to pay homage to them for that. I just want to make sure that everybody clearly understands that when I'm in spaces and I make statements, it sounds like it's a badgering situation, but this is a prime example of how not working cohesively this happened. And this is not to badger or to beat everybody over the head with anything, but it being in the situation when you're in the legislation offices, stuff happens at the last minute. And I'm going to give you a prime example. We had two hearings back to back, Monday and Tuesday. We didn't get the word until Friday. We were begging people to participate. And when you don't participate and you don't listen to us, this is what happens. I was in a room the other evening and I had a conversation, and it wasn't an argument to me, but it was like trying to snap somebody out of the fact. The person said, we have a few people. I'm not going to name the number. I said, okay, we have a few people too. He said, well, if that's all we have, that's what we have to do to get it done. That is totally unacceptable. When it comes to hearings, when it comes to legislations, it's all hands on deck. And that means nationwide. Just because you don't live in that city or state doesn't mean that you don't have an obligation to assist. And so people don't care in legislation where the people are at, that are testifying, that are sending an email. The larger our number is, the more serious we look. And I just want to make a huge statement, and I've said it over and over again. We are not present. We're not out in public. We're not like the gays. We're not like the women's rights movement. People don't see us. And even if they don't see us right now is the most important time in the legislation season because they're off from July to December. You have to make your pitch and you have to get it in what you want because the legislation session opens in January. Sometimes they have special hearings like this happen in New York before the legislation hearing. And I have personally seen the U.S. Freedmen Project beg people to call, beg people to email. And the biggest thing that bothers me is it doesn't cost anything to send an email. It doesn't cost anything to call. I personally called again on Friday and talked to somebody there, and I have sent emails. I collaborate with everybody across the nation. And so it's very important that if we want reparations, we have to show ourselves. And if it's not in person, it's by email, it's by coming on Zoom testifying, and it's by calling. And there's absolutely no excuse in the world why we all can't get that done. And so this is a prime example of what not working together is. And I'm very disappointed because it didn't have to be that way. We've been talking about this with U.S. Freedmen Project since 22. My stuff is more recent, like late 22. And so they could have had the same accomplishments that we had in Boston and Massachusetts and Cambridge if we all pitched together. And I can't believe that nobody helped them get this done. It's just absolutely unacceptable. I know for a fact that they put a lot of social media work into it. And so what's social media for if nobody assisted them? And so that's the part that's very disappointing to me. I'm on the ground. I don't really deal with social media as much. So if I'm on the ground and I got this done, how is it possible that they didn't have the support that they needed with all these people on Twitter Spaces every day? So I'm just going to say that we have to collaborate together. We have to work cohesively to get this job done if we want this reparation. I don't care if you're in Alaska. I don't care if you're in California, Atlanta, North Carolina, Wyoming, whatever. We have got to help our sisters and brothers get this stuff done. And as far as personalities are concerned, you don't have to live with that person. You don't have to be married to that person. You don't even have to see that person. So put all these personality stuff aside and get the job done. Here in Boston, we have 5 people that are consistent on my roster. When it comes to legislation, I am the only person in Boston that gets this stuff done. I have a colleague in Cambridge that got this done by herself. When we come to social media and we say, hey, we need this done, we're really expecting for everybody to do that. But we did our stuff at the last minute when we were told. But the U.S. Freedmen Project has been talking about this shit since 2022, and I know that for a fact. And it's very disappointing that people didn't step up to the plate to help them to get this done. There's just no way in the world that the kind of heavy lifting that they need wasn't done. But today, there's a huge slap in the face. We should be having a celebratory victory speech right now, not talking about what could have been done and so forth and so on. And I just pray in the future, because our job is not done yet. We still got a long way to go here in Massachusetts. I pray that I don't face this, because if I did, I wouldn't speak to anybody ever again. It's just very much disrespectful, it's very disheartening, and it's very counterproductive. And that's what I want to say in this space today. I just want to get it off my chest. And I'm really disappointed that more people didn't participate to help them pull this off today. And that we have nobody to blame but ourselves.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Stilettos. Thank you for coming up and speaking. We definitely appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to let me give a shout out real quick to Shannon and Thias for their contribution on Cash App. But thank you, Stiletto. I think last time we actually had you in the space speaking was I think back in that Gabe space. So shout out to you, sister, and I hope all is well. Go ahead, DJ.
I just wanted to piggyback off the sister Stilettos right there. She definitely cooking and said a whole lot right there. So you ain't got nobody to blame except ourselves, right? So with that being said, it's the same go to the trial. So it's the same initiative up here, sister. And I ain't gonna make this a technical argument or space, but you know, a lot of our folks actually do be up here retweeting and posting information on a regular, Facebook, YouTube, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it is, right? Well, we also have to understand that we don't own this platform. So therefore, meaning, we are being shadow banned across the social media web as well. So when you think about these things, the only logical thing to do is to go have our own on that side too. So we're asking everyone here in this room not to just go make an account on Newstoter, not to just go make an account on Funded Socially, not go make it just to make an account on African Diaspora News Network. Go make an account on any black platform, and let's get the hell off these WPIs. Because for the simple fact, we all got to understand this one thing: a lot of these folks don't want us having anything. So with that being said, imagine all the folks that, hey, I saw your stuff, I retweeted it, I liked it, but you never saw it. You're being shadow banned on all sides. It don't matter if you're doing reparations in Boston or reparations here in New Jersey. You may not see anything pertaining to, Mississippi reparations, even though you are a reparationist, because they don't want you to see it. And at the end of the day, a lot of our folks here, they will go right past the information. They'll look at it, understand it, get it, but they won't engage it. They won't like the post. They won't retweet it or share with their family members and all this other stuff. That's just life. But for the most part, and I do mean the most part, 90%, a lot of these WPI companies, Facebook, Twitter, ScrewTube, are just shadow banners. So when you say their engagements should be more than what it is on social media, Yeah, that is true, but it ain't gonna be until we build up our own platforms. So go ahead, fam.
I totally agree with you about the shadow banning. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about clear posts where it says, please email this person, call this person, whatever, so forth and so on. That's what I'm talking about, taking it off of social media. Like I've seen.
I understand that accountability.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of our folks will sit there, look at the post, understand it clearly. Hey, this is a reparations thing. I don't care if I like you, don't like you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't agree in that stuff. So a lot of our folks won't even lift a finger to do that.
And that's why we're in the situation we're in New York. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Or we could have had more support from our
No, I'm with you, sister. This is why we're in the situation we're in. We won't even lift a finger to retweet another person's reparations post, or we'll be all over Cardi B post. We'll be all over young whoever post. You see what I'm saying? Like they get commented, giggling, Michael Jackson, Some out, you know what I'm saying? But won't say the same thing, but sit here and complain about white supremacy join both sides. This is why, reparations is the long game. Black state is the what? You know what I mean?
Real talk. Thank you, Stilettos. Let me go ahead and get the Black majority state. Black, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, I don't want to disrupt that conversation. I think Dark and Lovely wants to add to that. I'll go after her if that's okay.
It's actually Mel go after you, but go ahead, Mel, and then I'll let Dark and Lovely because Mel hadn't spoken as much. Go ahead, Mel.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Now I wanted to thank Rella for providing some clarity because based on what she said, it makes sense, and I agree with her. And when she was speaking about the need for the study and why it is so important, and I agree with all of that. And I just wonder, and somebody else said, I think Stiletto, and shout out to Stiletto. I think Stiletto said something along these lines of, or maybe she didn't, I don't know. But here's my point about the reinventing of the wheel, and I feel like with what Rella was saying earlier, it's like, what's the possibility of even taking the study and the findings, the general findings that they did in California and send those up to New York, and they build upon that so that it's not another 18, 24, 82 months of study. Because I do get that, but I also want us just to be, just to be a little bit more demanding, like quit playing in our face. And shoot, I just lost my last point, but short of that, thanks, Rella, for providing that clarity. Oh, and this is what I was going to say. Shout out to you, Newstoter, because what I learned in this space tonight, I learned some details as to why there is in the state of New York, why there's some opposing sides. And like I said, I'm not taking a side, but I'm beginning to understand each side. And so I think that's the first step to bringing a party together to get a understanding and possibly putting us in a position for everyone to work together or not, at least understanding why the parties can't work together. So shout out to you for the fact that the opportunity to even, put it on the table, put it in the atmosphere, what the issues are. That's a first step. Now, where it ends, who knows? But it's definitely a first step, and I'm just glad that Talent was able to speak his piece, however it was. Definitely Friedman speaking his piece, and I can't think of sister's name real quick. That's going to speak after me, and I follow you, sis. And her, coming with her intensity, her passion on where she stands. So it's just informative. And it's going to help, I feel like, us to better understand what's going on and hopefully bring us closer to us being able to group with the commonality of lineage-based reparations. It's a debt owed. We need it, and we need to, let's just get there without as much distraction as we possibly can. I'm a land. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mel. And in this space, we always try to, even when people have opposing points of views and everything else, we try to let people come up in here and have their go at it and express themselves as always, while trying to also have the information, current event news, and everything else surrounding Black Americans in the country. So we try to go ahead and have all that and let people come up here, even if we agree with them or don't agree with them. And sometimes, people get upset in spaces. Why you let this person talk? Why you let this person talk? Because, hey, it's a platform. We're letting people come up here. We're not having an echo chamber. You don't have to agree with everything somebody says or whatever, but let that person come up here and say what they want to say. And then you can go ahead and you can rebuttal. You know what I'm saying? You can challenge what they're saying. Just do it respectfully. That's all we ask, to go ahead and let people do it respectfully. Let me go ahead and get to Dark and Lovely. Dark and Lovely, go ahead and unmute your mic. And then I got you, Black Majority State. I got you, Africa, as well, too. But go ahead, Dark and Lovely.
Thank you for letting me speak again. Just into response to Brother, never would I think I'm bigger than the movement. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about the movement. The problem is, with talent in New York, the problem is that, first of all, we are in the most immigrated population state in the country. Okay, there's no room there. We didn't have any room. We didn't have a shorty level. We didn't have that kind of bill. You understand what I'm saying? So there was no room to agree with them to go ahead and let's push this bill and then argue later. No, we don't have that. You understand what I'm saying? So no, I do not have any interest. And I want to make this very clear. You understand what I'm saying? I do not have any interest. I do not respect it. I don't want anything to do with you. Anybody that comes after New York around this country and says, yeah, let's just push for whatever they give us and then we'll argue later, I won't do it. Now, another thing is you're not in. So what happens is that, see, I'm watching talent do what he's doing with his snake self. I'm watching him a reparations meeting after reparations meeting after reparations meeting after reparations meeting tell these people that he supports this bill. No, it's not his fault the bill went through, but to watch that meeting after meeting after meeting and then say, oh, well, yeah, for the movement, the bigger party, let's work together. No, I'm big enough. I believe the movement is big enough that I believe that certain people, once they make certain moves, I no longer trust them. And I no longer want anything to do with them. Nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So nobody had to watch him do what he did in New York. Nobody had to, go through that, what he was trying to do in New York at the end of the day. So that's how I feel. And no, I feel like, yes, the movement is bigger than me. That's why I'm going to state my opinion, and I'm going to not want to work with, not even want to be around anybody that's not for lineage based from the door. I do not believe in pushing any bills. Let's get this through and then argue after. That doesn't even make sense. Where does that make sense at? Because look at where we're at now. Now we have to fight them for the lineage base. Now we have to go through all of this nonsense. You understand what I'm saying? So you think I want anything to do with anybody that was telling us to go ahead and, let's just do that and then argue later? Absolutely not. If that deems me that I feel like I'm bigger than the movement, then so be it. Think what you want to, Dark and Lovely. Quinte, think what you want. But I want nothing to do with him. He's a snake. And from now on, I will be verbally calling out any other snakes that I see from now on. And I'll be tagging you while I'm at it. I won't talk subliminally or nothing. I'll put your name out. So I'm very upset tonight. I'm very angry. And another thing, too, if everybody felt so much about let's work with talent, why didn't they call talent out while this man was pushing for us to go with this bill and then do something later? Why nobody stopped him? You didn't stop him, Bella, in his tracks and tell him, hey, you shouldn't be telling New York or you shouldn't be at reparations meeting saying let's go with the bill first and then argue later. Because you're caping for him now, but they just stop him when he was doing what he was doing. You understand what I'm saying? So no, I don't have no grace for nobody. That ain't lineage based and that's not stay on their square. No, like I said, he don't have control over what happened, but he still contributed to it. And no, I do not believe in let's make a commission and fight later. And if you was on that side, you all good with me. You ain't all good with me. You're not all good with me. I'm good on you, and I have no interest in working with you. Now, whoever wants to go ahead and work with you, that's fine. But me, no, I'm good. I'm good, and I'll land there.
Okay, Dark and Lovely, sweetie, take a deep breath. We understand. We're not saying that you got to work with them. We understand that. We know that you and him, y'all don't get along. You have different points of view.
But see, that's not the thing. It's not that we don't get along because there's nobody in this movement I ever take anything personal with. If you look at my page, I have had arguments with Bella. I have had arguments with.
But I'm saying we understand your.
I have had arguments with so many people on this app, and I promise you, no one is blocked. No one has never came to me, Dark and Lovely, and had an argument with me on Tuesday, and then hit me in my DM and say, "Yo, Dark and Lovely, can we work on this?" And I tried to play them Wednesday. I work with anybody that's serious, and I do not hold grudges. I do not do none of that. You do not see me. Oh, I'm just with Freeman because that's the name. I got ADOS on my thread. I got SB. I don't care what you call yourself, but when you play games with lineage in a state as immigrated population as New York, I don't have anything further to say to you, and I want nothing to do with you. And that's how I feel about that. So no, it has nothing to do with anything personal. Personal, I don't do. There's no one on this app that's personal to me. I'm telling you about the movement. So when my thing is, I'm not going to just keep accepting anything in the movement because you're Black American. No, that won't be happening. Like I said, I had to watch him talk to James Sanders and the same people that y'all saw on TV today, and keep telling them in Brooklyn and Queens and all over New York City how he's okay with the bill and smiling in their faces. So don't, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to get on here and tell me how to feel about talent or anything else.
But nobody got on here tonight and told you how to feel about him. though. That's the only thing. That nobody told you how to feel about him. Feel about him however you want to feel about him. You know, nobody's trying to tell you, hey, you got to work with him. You gotta feel about him a certain way or whatever. So that's all I'm saying. Like, feel about him however you want to feel. We're not here to dictate your feelings toward him, or we're not trying to tell you, hey, you need to work with him. Y'all need to come together, find a common ground. You know, if you can find a common ground with people on here, that's fine. If you can't, you know, I was always told, if you can't get along, if you can't work with somebody, don't work with them. Just stay away from them. Do what you got to do. So we're not sitting.
And I get that, but what I'm saying is, don't get up here and cape for him when you wasn't putting him in his place.
Who was caping for him? Who was caping?
I'm straight up.
I wasn't
She
caping for him, and I must say this.
Okay, but
because I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay, one person that. Okay, Dark and Lovely. You can't speak over. Okay, let her say something real quick because I want to get to the hands. Black majority state. I see Val's up here, Africa. So let her go ahead and speak, and because you've been speaking, let her go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I wasn't caping for him, and if that's again, I even reiterated that, and I stated my position. It has nothing to do with caping for talent. It really has more to do with saying cooler heads prevail. I heard everything that you said. I'm very clear, but I don't have to sit around and bash somebody that has already made a move. I have to actually be strategic and make my strategic move on what I'm going to do next. And Talent had talked about, I think I was in and out of social media personally, and he came into, I think, a Saturday space, right, Black, and I think he started talking about, I think, something like this going on, and he got a lot of pushback. He got pushback even from me. And so, again, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And I'm not in New York.
Yeah, well,
so if he was going to,
okay, Dark and Lovely, let us speak.
If he was going to do what he did, which he did as an adult, he was going to do it regardless of whether or not Rella told him it was wrong or you told him it was wrong, because no one else was there to show up when these people were on stage. That, to me, is what I heard from even Stiletto. Because if people knew the extent in the hard work it takes once documentation is already pushed through to get it changed, they would have not let it happen. But because, again, the people in New York, the information is not saturated. So when you get on stage and you start talking about, I think these are the people that need to be pushing this information, and these are the type of people. No, it's all of the descendants in New York who deserve to make sure their voice is heard, and they are deserving of the education. They are deserving to make sure that they know what the U.S. Freedmen Project has been doing so that they can show up for themselves. And if that's the support that we should be giving New York and any other state, then we need to do that. And that's what I got from Stilettos tonight. Has nothing to do with what talent has already gone and done.
Girl, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Man, fuck that. Like, let me get the fuck out.
Okay.
Okay. No cursing. Y'all chill out. It ain't that serious. Let me go ahead and go to Black majority state. Black, go ahead and unmute your mic.
So I apologize. Sometimes people are just too angry to even have a conversation with them, and so you have to let them go. You can't argue back and forth with them. You just can't. You really can't, because you gotta let them cool down.
You got it, Black. Go ahead.
You ain't from the Bronx, Black. No, don't say nothing. You don't know about. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, no. So I came up to respond to Crimson on YouTube. That's why I wanted the conversation to go through. Because I wanted to say study long, study wrong. But I really, because Evanston was mentioned here. I was in a space earlier. Evanston was mentioned. I didn't get to get my Evanston story off, right? So my first town home, brand new construction, was in 1997. Bill Clinton was the president. And the local community had something called the Mon Valley Initiative, which is just an organization, and they get money from state, federal funds, right? This is what they do, to try to revitalize the community. And so the market value rate or price on the property was $93,000. $60,000 of that was in a forgiveness loan. These are let me make sure I get it right, because Biden just put out a statement to Congress that they want to help 500,000 people become homeowners. They're called neighborhood revitalization programs. These things have been around for decades, literally for decades. And so what happens is they give you the 60,000. The actual mortgage was for the balance. It was like 31,000. So you automatically have equity. They're trying to stabilize the tax base, get a hardworking taxpayer in this property to help improve the community. So you got equity day one. 15 years is the amount of time that you have to stay in the property in order for that $60,000 loan to literally disappear. It's really on paper, it doesn't actually exist. If you try to move out before then, they will prorate the $60,000 so that you don't just get this equity and run away with it. The first time I heard the Evanston thing, and I made a post about it, immediately I recognized this as what it is. This is a government program that has been in existence for decades. To repackage that, to put the label of reparations on it, is not just deceptive, it's demonic. Because you're doing it for only one real purpose, and that is to elevate yourself as if you've done something new and different, when in fact you just repackaged something that has always been going on, quite literally all over the country, consistently, and is still going on today. And so if that was reparations, then I got reparations in 1997, which I didn't, obviously. So I just wanted to put that up there because I didn't get to mention it, and then came up, and I just wanted to put that out there, get it off my chest, as far as that goes. And I'll just end on that.
All right. Thank you, Black Majority State. Love my folks on YouTube says, is Talent the pan-Negro dude pushing Negro land? I believe Talent believes in Negro land. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't been in a space with Talent. I haven't been in a space with Talent in a... Yeah, I don't...
Why you asking about the Pan-African? You know what I'm saying?
Hold on real quick, DJ, because I don't, like I said, I haven't been in a space with Talent, so I don't really know exactly what Talent them do in their spaces, so I can't really say, but I know, I have heard the saying about Negro land as well too, so I can't really, really speak on it. To be honest, love my folks.
Can I speak to that? Can I speak to that?
Go ahead.
Because I'm not an adversarial person. My first interaction on Twitter 3 years ago I was met with opposition by some of the same characters that are still floating around today. And because I understand what conflict means to me, doesn't mean the same for everybody else. I avoid conflict because that's going to keep me out of the penitentiary. When you move in a certain way and you create adversaries, multiple adversaries, this is not a TV show. People take that shit personally and they react and respond accordingly based on the adversarial shit that they were met with. I'm sorry, I apologize for cursing. That is a reaction to an action. And the decision has to be made. Walk away, engage, or consider that person deceased. That's what I do. I consider people irrelevant when they cross a line, when they prove themselves to be adversarial to me for whatever reason, because that's not how I interact with the world at all. I'm going to be very adversarial to the people who deserve that, and those are the oppressors and the invaders into this country. However, when it comes to our own people, my own people, there's no need for me to be adversarial with them. I simply stop engaging and interacting with them and move on, because there's nothing, and this is something that we all really should appreciate. I'll be 50 years now. I just turned 40 now. I'll be 50 years next year. There's nothing that a single individual has ever done for me in my life that I did not do for myself, ever. And as long as you live like that and you appreciate that, you ain't got to worry about these other people. Just keep doing what you do.
All right. Thank you. Black, let me go ahead and get to Africa. Africa, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, so for about 2 years, I always heard people on this app speaking on reparations, but nobody never told me, like, what's in the bill? Like, what do y'all want exactly?
You know what people want. They want cash payments. They want cash payments. They want land. They want policies that's going to impact the lives of Black Americans. You know this.
So do you think cash payment makes sense? Like, realistically?
Yeah, it made sense. It made sense for the Jewish people, and it made sense for the Japanese, and it made sense for Indians and Native Americans and everybody else. So, but it doesn't make sense for Black people.
So I'm not really too
the same way you have some of these African nations over there asking for trillions of dollars in reparations for colonization. But go ahead.
Yeah, so when we're talking about Native Americans, I'm not really familiar with their reparations claim or their bills they got passed.
Well, you do understand they got these casinos and everything else going on here, right?
Yeah, I understand that, but this is the thing: the transatlantic slave trade was $1 trillion business. So therefore, if they giving us something under that, was kind of a spit in the face. Me personally, when we talking about reparations, I think about either an independent state or Black people in this country get their own department of state. You get what I'm saying? So Black people that went through child slavery have their own unique citizenship that only Black people in the United States can get. That will come with a passport, citizenship. That way, Black people in America can trade with whoever they want without the United States government getting involved. That's the only way, to me, I think Black people want to rise to the top in this country, is if we can trade and do these things without white people getting involved in it. So that's what I would think makes sense when we're talking about reparations. Our own independent state.
Okay. Thank you.
Department of State, I mean, my bad.
What do you mean by Department of State? You talk about your own government?
Your own branch of government.
Your own branch of government?
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? Your own federal branch, your own local, your own state? Exactly what?
All that.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, thank you. We appreciate it, Africa.
What you think? It don't make sense?
I kind of don't. I don't think it. I don't make it. I'm being. You asked me a question, so I'm answering to you. I don't think it makes a lick of sense, to be honest. I never heard of your own Department of State.
What you think?
Department of State is part of either the state government or federal government. So you're saying that we should have our own? I don't understand that.
What you mean you don't understand?
To me, it doesn't make any sense.
How don't you own? So you telling me black people?
I'm saying you got black people that work for the federal government, local government, state government right now.
It don't, and do we run that? Systematically, what do black people in this country?
The United States of America is not gonna. They're not gonna create a government within the actual government.
So you think they're gonna cut $1 trillion? But that's what I'm talking
well,
about.
they already spent trillions of dollars in foreign aid right now.
All right, okay, foreign aid. We talking about black people. We not talking about.
Well, listen. So you think it's ridiculous for them to cut a check for $1 trillion, but you don't think it's ridiculous for them to go ahead and create a Department of State within the actual Department of State of the United States? But you don't think that's ridiculous?
So you think white people in this country will cut $1 trillion, print $1 trillion, and the whole United States government is in what fucking shambles now? Everything going up.
First off, don't drop any f bombs. Don't drop any f bombs. Don't drop any f bombs. Everybody, chill on the cursing up in the space. Don't drop any f bombs. And what you're saying to me makes no sense. I'm just being honest. It makes no sense. I don't know if you're trolling. I don't know if you high or whatever it is. It makes no sense. You're saying it's ridiculous. You're saying it's ridiculous to go ahead and cut $1 trillion check, but it's not ridiculous for the United States to create a sub government within the actual United States.
All this stuff that we talking about is hypotheticals and what ifs.
Well, how many governments have they created? How many governments have they created within the United States? Because there is a track record of them paying reparations, but what is a track record of them creating actual governments within the United States? A secondary department, what do you say, Department of State?
Yeah, like I said.
Well, why they added? Why don't they just create a secondary military as well within the United States? Since it's all hypothetical.
You don't want your own branch of government.
No, what I want is money. What I want is money and land. I want money and land. That's okay. So why don't you the same thing, like I said, those African nations asking about for trillions of dollars from colonization and stuff, why don't you tell them that as well?
I'm not in Africa. I'm not
okay.
Reparations over there because I'm not over there with you. I wasn't born there. I don't know nobody over there to tell that to you. So I don't care about what they want.
Well,
I'm telling you what makes sense.
It don't make sense. It doesn't make sense to not one person in this space. It makes no sense whatsoever. Do you think people are thumbing down what you said? It makes absolutely no sense. But I know you like to troll. I know you like to troll. I know you like to troll, and I'm not gonna even listen. As a grown man, I'm not even finna entertain this conversation no more, to be honest with you, because it's ridiculous. It's something I expect maybe a 12-year-old to say. I'm just being honest. No.
This don't make sense.
No, it don't make any sense.
Listen, you said, oh yeah, well we give everybody.
We do give you a chance. You're speaking. It doesn't make any just because it don't make any sense, bro. You're telling me realistically that the government is setting up governments within the United States. They could do that.
What I said was that would make more sense.
Yeah, sure it would. So they would set up an opposing government that would potentially rival them one day, is what you're saying.
And you think this government is going to cut $1 trillion?
I think the government is printing up paper left and right. And like I say, there's a track record of them actually doing reparations. So I don't know what you're talking about. There's an actual track record of that.
Who did they cut $1 trillion to in this country? Can you give me and can you put that in a jumbotron? Give me one group of people in this country that they gave $1 trillion to. They didn't do that. They didn't do that to the natives. They didn't do that to no Asians. I don't know who they did.
Not all at one time.
Okay.
Over time.
Listen,
They didn't put it in a jumbotron.
Okay. That
Who got the money, son? You know what I mean?
okay. Let me go to the next speaker. Val, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Okay, thank you, Newstoter. I almost got confused, got off the stage. I just really want to address what I've been hearing in the space this evening, and thanks for allowing me to speak. I haven't been up here in a long time. WPI. Good to see you guys. Okay, for one thing, what I want to say, I got two things really I want to voice tonight, and it's already kind of been voiced. The thing is, the bill that was written in New York, we know that somebody wrote it. It wasn't talent, and they voted on it and they approved it. The governor signed it. So basically, what is the issue is that they did the lineage thing. Is they're making it for basically for all Black Americans in New York. So what we're saying is that the work that needs to be done, just like they did in California, they have to show up. The people have to show up and say, no, we want it strictly lineage based. Okay? Because that's not, that's what talent is pushing for. He's saying, come on out, get in the streets, go to the meetings, go to the commission, the meetings that they have for reparations. And that's how you get it changed. For you let them know that, no, you want it lineage based only. Now, the other thing I want to say is that we spend a lot of time in these spaces arguing, and the people that we should have been addressing is Narc and Cobra. Because these are the people that we keep saying they're going all around the country and setting up their rules for the commissions. But we're arguing with each other, and our main enemy is just, it's like a football game. They're just going around us like, okay, making touchdowns all over the country. But we only have smoke for each other, and we should be working together to get rid of those two organizations that have been working. I heard one lady said she's been working for them for 50 years for reparations. 50 years. What has she been doing 50 years for reparations? So in these organizations, so that is my issue with it. We can't blame one person because that's what they put in the bill. But as he is saying, get out there, do the work, go attend the commission meetings, and just like they have the open spaces where you can come in and talk to them and tell them exactly what your demands are for the bill. And I'll land right there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Val. Let me go ahead and get to no taxation. Matter of fact, we're going to start rounding this out. We're going to get to the last few hands up here. No taxation. Ely and Talent, I see up here. If anybody that's a speaker, not requesting to speak, but anybody that's a speaker up here that wants to go ahead and get it in real quick, really, I'll let you be the last speaker. We're going to be getting ready to close this thing out soon. We've been over 3 hours. Stilettos, I see you up here as well, too. So we'll go ahead and let you get it in as well, too. But go ahead, no taxation.
Cool child. I left Data's space. Judge Joe Brown had told the people, some man in the space, that he does not get taught anything. He's the one that's doing the teaching. I said, let me get up out of here and go over here to Newstoter space. And lo and behold, y'all was over here falling out. Hey, everybody in the room. I wish y'all would turn the corner on this because it's getting ready to be some holidays coming up. Y'all gonna miss some arguing with each other. Black, I'm on that same vibe as you, man. Listen, the chill mode is the way to go. The chill mode is the way to go. Less stress, okay? Let's see. I want to do Navy Federal first. Who don't know these white banking institutions are against black folks? Who don't know that? So all of them are suspects, and that is actually part of a well-rounded reparations plan. Look into these institutions and see what they're doing. Every single one of them that's over a certain dollar amount and catering to a certain percentage of black people because we know they code the paperwork and all that kind of stuff. We know what they're doing over there. And okay, and then I'm gonna do Rudy Giuliani. Listen, first of all, those women had to leave their houses, and Georgia. There's an old saying about Georgia: "Break Georgia and you break the South." It's one of the biggest stronghold of white supremacy in this country is Georgia. And that's because they put it up on that mountain, Stone Mountain. Got a lot to do with it. And where Clinton stood up on the top of Stone Mountain with black male prisoners behind him and a microphone in front of him, made a big speech. See? They were wearing stripes. Ain't nothing changed. Giuliani, here's what they said in New York. They named every single one of his assets that he has in New York. He doesn't have a cash flow. He probably doesn't have anything liquid, But he's got some hard assets. And I don't know how much money they're worth. They didn't say that. But certainly those women should be getting something. They probably not going to get everything because he may not have it like that. And then he's around there over there with Trump. And Trump ain't going to give out no money because he's looking for some himself, right? So, but you have to think of who Rudy Giuliani is. Rudy Giuliani was in Philadelphia during campaigning for Trump. And he told those young people, set something up at the Four Seasons. I have to make an announcement. And so they put a podium up at the Four Seasons Dirt and Supply or Earth Moving Machine. I don't know what it was, but he was in front of something that was crazy. And it was a strip joint across the street or a porno store or something. That, he was round. He was round. They put a microphone up. So when Giuliani did that, and that hair dye was running down the side of his face, it was a wrap then. And so he been out for out of the game for a long period of time. He holding on. And those women, they need to tell their attorneys after he does the appeal, give me some of them assets. Either liquidate your assets or give me the assets. We'll take them both, And so I'm gonna leave that there. New York reparations. Is Stiletto still in the room? I see it. Stiletto, this is really. I want to give this to you because I think a lot about you, and I don't want you to be too disappointed. New York, Chicago, D.C. Those are the biggest strongholds for Pan-Africanism in the nation. Okay. New York is a particular place everybody knows. It's immigrant packed. It's the financial center. I think one of the best well-kept secrets right now about New York City and New York in general right now is white women are running it. And they made their move when that woman on Sex and the City, when she started running for governor or whatever she ran for, mayor or something. That's when the white women got on the move. They got they got Cuomo out. They got his brother out of CNN. And so it's on lock for the white women now. But having said that, I don't know between you and I, Stiletto, and everybody in the room and everybody on the internet, I don't know if we showed up in droves, if we had 20 or 30,000 people there, that it wouldn't have gone down the way it went down. And I'll tell you why. National Action Network. And they put Greg Carr up in there in that photo op. And they got a leg up now. And y'all got to come with something real fierce for that. Because you're talking about somebody who has studied this and is a very Pan-African leaning and is a tenured professor and has a doctorate in it. And so you're going to have to match with him. I say go get Darity. That's between you and me and everybody in the room. How about that? And the whole internet. So don't be too disappointed. It's not a done deal. You know, and it's going to be difficult to get people to trek into the city to go to the meeting. And I'm going to give Negro, I'm going to give you this, and anybody who else is in New York City and going to the meetings. I wish Dark and Lovely was still here. And if anybody knows her, maybe they can give her this message. Stiletto, you remember when this was a while back, you set up a Zoom meeting for somebody that was having a reparations meeting and hearing, and you set up a Zoom, and I don't know how I got into it, but that's when I first met you. I think that's a novel idea. When people go into these meetings, go early and set up a Zoom and invite us, because we have a better chance of showing up then, and then you can put in the chat questions, and then the person that's in the audience can ask those questions. Stiletto has done that because I have participated in it. That's how I met her. And this was a while back. So I just want to throw that out there for anybody who's going in. And Stiletto, don't be too discouraged. The fight goes on, and that's what we do. And I'm going to leave it there. And have a wonderful, everybody here, I wish everybody a wonderful, prosperous, and healthy new year for everybody and their family and friends too. Bye.
All right. Thank you. No taxation. Like I said, we're going to get to the last few hands up in here. I see we had a couple people that subscribed to the YouTube channel. That's up in the Jumbotron, guys. So thank you. For those that haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to shorten it up with the speakers, like 2-3 minutes, so we can go ahead and get up out of here. Because like I said, we've been going for a little over 3 hours, and normally after 2 hours or so, I like to go ahead and shut it down. But we're going to go ahead and get to the last few speakers tonight as well, too. For those that can support on Cash App, again, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. We got about 80 people up in the space as well, too. So $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. $Newstoter. For those that don't have Cash App, we have the PayPal, Venmo up in the Jumbotron. Same for my people over there on YouTube. Cash App on the actual screen, $Newstoter, and the PayPal and Venmo is up in the actual description. Let me go ahead and get to Ely. I know you've been. Is Ely up here still? Ely may not. I guess Ely may have stepped down because he was waiting for a minute, but Ely's not up here. Sister Sean, I'll let you come up here because I see you requesting. Like I say, everybody, we're gonna do 2-3 minutes. That's it, because we're not gonna be up in this space too much longer. So nobody else requests to come up here because I'm getting ready to shut this space down. So I'm just letting everybody know that straight up right now. And we're not going to be long-winded either. We're going to go ahead and get it in, and we're going to get it out. New Negro talent, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, peace and love. Came back. Just want to share a couple things. I didn't know what was said when I left, so if anybody was like talking negative about, I don't care, man. My fiance told me stop yelling at people or arguing with people online, so I'm taking her advice. So as it pertains to what's going on when it comes to reparations, just kind of want to make myself very clear. This is politics, people. Right? Politics is about leverage, influence, money, galvanizing community. It's a handful of different things. It's not about the shit we stand on online and we understand what it is. And we just open up spaces and yell at each other all day about the same shit that we all know.
Hey, Talent. Hey, I'm telling everybody to stop cursing. Everybody's been cursing a lot. So I'm just, hold on, because I'm talking to everybody in the space. Everybody's been kind of getting it in. I've been trying to tell them all night, but everybody up in the space that's going to speak, chill on the cursing. We trying to get ready to get this out, but chill on the cursing. But go ahead, Talent.
Cool. Yeah, so it's really about that, right? It's about understanding that this is a political game, and the majority of the Black community does not know what's going on, right? When I referenced earlier, it's about 13, maybe 14, 15 different task force from city to state across the country. I was preferencing that as there's motion happening and there's a conversation that can grow, but the community still doesn't know about it because we're dealing with very much a media blackout as it pertains to reparations. Because if more people know about it, more people will show up, more people will know what's going on, learn the language, understand the talking points, and get this thing moving forward. So if we know that that is not happening and there is a media sabotage, those who are in this space have to do a good job of getting the word out, making sure that they have people show up and galvanize. Another element that I continue to say, I've been in our Negro room, so it's all cool, is when we're going to talk about how to get on this task force, right? This Detroit, we already knew Camilla Moore was California, or people helped make that happen. I heard they was writing letters, petitioning to get her on the task force in California. And are people doing that in St. Louis, Missouri? Are people doing that in Memphis, Fulton County? Are people doing that? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is looking for people in the task force. Are people doing that? Right? In New York City, there's a whole New York City bill coming too. There's a state bill that just passed. I understand the same reality that everybody understands. We want lineage-based reparations, but there's some areas that you just got to play politics a certain way. And New York is an area that you just got to play a certain way.
Talent, you got to get ready to land it.
Okay, we don't have enough money and or history of being outside to be able to leverage ourselves from a straight-up positioning. So it is looking to find a different angle of influence, galvanizing the community, trying to see who can get on a task force and having people show up when it matters. If people don't realize that, then people just living in la la land. This is still politics, and we got to play politics. And in the state of New York, it's Buffalo, it's Rochester, it's Newburgh, it's Kingston, right? There's so many different areas, and not just New York City, that this is for. So people also got to take into account that it's going to take a statewide effort, and you got to start connecting the dots with more than just the city, because we need those numbers. And I land there, man. And anybody else saying anything great about me, I think we should. Happy holidays. Peace and love.
All right. Thank you, Talent. Rella, go ahead real quick. And then we're going to get the Stilettos and we're going to get to Sean. You hear, Rella? Hey, Rella, you here in the space? Okay, Rella may not be in the space, or she may be having some issues. Stilettos, you go ahead then real quick.
Thank you. I just want to say some quick things. One of the things that Rella said was it's absolutely important to do a study and also be able to control that study. And so what I wanted to say, in addition to being a part of the meetings and showing up and understanding the legislation, is you can bid to be one of the research consultants for the task force or the commission. So you can have a direct input as to the research that's being done. We've done that. And so it's not just about just voting in a bill, getting it exactly the way you want it. And let me just explain something really quick. When I got back to Boston to take care of my mother, the bill here was already written, but it wasn't written the way that I wanted to be written. And I had to fight to get those who descend from slavery in the U.S. in there. I tried to get American freedmen in there, but I got as close as possible. So sometimes you have to fight and negotiate, and that takes work. But the biggest piece is it's not just about voting in a bill that you like because it's exactly the way that you want it to be. It's about other opportunities to open up. You can be on the commission, the task force. You can be a research consultant that controls the narrative of the information that they're actually compiling and make the recommendations. And guess what? We're doing all of that in Boston. So in Boston, we just got voted in an American Freedmen Commission in the city of Cambridge. In Boston, we have a task force already, and we have American Freeman in that. We're also working on our state bill, and we have our hands in everything. But it takes a whole village, a whole state, a whole community to make this stuff happen. 2 or 3 people can't do it by themselves. It's burnout. So that's what I'm saying with regards to everybody has to have their hands in this, especially if they want reparations. If that's what they're saying they want, they have to put themselves in some piece of this action. And again, I want to say this. Nobody's requesting everybody to show up to every meeting. But just like Miss Taxation said, there's been I do Zoom meetings, nobody shows up. I ask people to call, they don't call. I ask people to send an email, they don't do that. There has to be a sense of accountability on our side. And we absolutely want it to be research because we want to control the narrative going back from 1619 because our history's been erased. Do you want to leave it up to white people from Harvard or from Yale to tell us, you know what I'm saying, what our history should be? We didn't want that. So we want to control that narrative. And so there's a lot to be done. It doesn't just end with voting a bill in. You want to make sure you're on that task force. You have control narratives as to what's being voted in. Also, you want to be able to be a research consultant to control the information that's being done. And you want to be able to make those recommendations. And it takes a lot to get this done. We need everybody, hands on deck, all across the nation. And so that's what I want to say, and I'll land my plane. And thank you guys again for listening. I appreciate you guys listening to the stuff. And I'm only saying this stuff because it's already done. I'm not saying it because this is wishful thinking. We've had success in Boston, and my disappointment is that New York didn't have the support to get this stuff done. And I know by failure what didn't work for me. And you know I know the failures. And so we still persevered. And I would just like to see people, when they see other cities and states asking for help, step in. And if it's an email, if it's a call, if it's a Zoom meeting, show up. That's all. You don't have to fly to another state. You don't have to be in president and go to every single meeting. But those who are in your community, in order for you to know what's going on, you have to be able to be the network and get into meetings and keep your ear to the ground. I go to 15 to 20 meetings a month.
Stilettos, thank you, sister, but we got to go ahead and move it on. But go ahead, Sean. Thank you, Stilettos. Go ahead, Sister Sean. And then, like I said, we're going to get ready to close this space out. I think Rella's stuck, but we're going to go ahead and close it out. So real quick, go ahead, Sister Sean.
Okay, peace and power, reparations to the room, Newstoter. Thank you for the space. I don't want to just speak out of turn. I haven't been in spaces. I'm about to be jumping back in spaces and people are present. Shout out to the New Negro. New Negro is doing a lot of work that I respect. But what I'd like to say, I want to pivot on something that I heard another sister said, and I like it. And what she said was, I believe that we need to pivot and we need to start giving some smoke to these N-Cobras and these NARC folks that are representing us in official meetings. Part of the problem that I see is they have a legacy type of relationship with these groups. And even in the political standpoint, and the problem is that they're out of touch with the grassroots. So they take NARC and Cobra as official statements. So it seems like they're cosplaying and they jumping in front and they're being in front of the camera when it's relevant. But we know that it's not relevant. So I love that sister's idea. Let's go to them directly. Let's give them some smoke. Let's go directly to those organizations, either on Twitter, letters, or whatever, and say, hey, you don't represent us. That's number one. And then that way we can kind of, that's something that has to be broken down because it's a common obstacle. Now, New York reparations, I can't really speak on it, but I can speak generally. Generally, we have all these individuals who like satellites, who like all these stars in the galaxy. And we have to land on the moon. And whether we like each other or not, it's so incredibly important. So we have to make sure whether you're in the sister, her sister Stiletto, or whether you're in New York, whether you're in Chicago, whether you're in California, wherever you are, that's our dysfunction. That's what we don't have. We don't have a source, but I think we have enough to know who to point to. And if anybody is doing any kind of reparations in any of the United States of America, if they don't know that it needs to be lineage based by now, then I don't know where they've been. It is not a program, and it is not. Another brother said they're talking about some home initiatives that are regular initiatives. Don't fall for the trick bag. I put it in the comments. Here in the District of Columbia, you have something called HPAP. They give up to $80,000 to $100,000 down. And the reason why it's so high is because the real estate is so high. The average home is $500,000 to $600,000 to $700,000. So don't think that that's a big number. But that is something that they give for everybody, and I think that that's important. And I know that you're closing this thing out, but here's what I want everybody to know.
Yeah, real quick, Sister Sean.
It's gonna be real quick, and this is gonna end it for you. At the end of the day, all this reparations, all this beef, and all the BS. Let me tell you what's going down. If you don't understand, the black man and the black woman is being projected as the face of rape and assault with this new Jason guy and this, I don't know, this entertainer who just was running away from some white woman. The black man and the woman has been the face of anti-Asian hate. The black man and woman is now being crafted and confederate against to be xenophobic. The black man and woman is now being crafted as anti-Semites. If y'all don't wake up and see what the hell is going on, I don't even know what to say. You got to ask yourself, why are all these people so hell-bent on making us the poster child of everything that's evil? It's because they're projecting their own evil and what's in their heart. Black man and woman, family, if you don't see what's going on today with these wars and how this stuff is being twisted against us, I don't know what to tell you. So we better get our ass up. Toga said don't cuss. We better get our noodles together around these reparations, because they coming against us with all fronts. Now they're trying to make us the face of anti-Semitism. This is dangerous, people. Y'all gotta understand.
All right, Sister Sean, but sweetie, we gonna go ahead and wrap it up, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because I got to get up out the space. So I'm not mean to cut you off, love. Much love to you, much respect to you. DJ, I don't know if are you holding an after space or anything?
Nah, I'm doing something right now, but I'll come up. But if not, enjoy your night, family. See y'all tomorrow.
All right. On that note, guys, we're gonna go ahead and shut the space down. So we'll see you guys potentially.
Somebody start a space. I'll come up with it. Go ahead.
Maybe tomorrow.
Did you skip me? I'm sorry.
No, I kept calling your name.
I'm sorry. I got caught up.
Rella, I'll let you go. I'll let you go real quick for a minute, but then I gotta close it out.
I'm just taking night. I'm gonna just say good night to everybody. It's good to see everyone. And again, I am going to be featuring a lot of the organizations in the magazine. Stilettos. I'm going to be featuring Boston in the magazine, just so you know. And if you'd like to, send me just kind of like a small paragraph or anything important you want me to focus on, please let me know. Talent, I got cussed out from not getting in you about whatever. Fortunately, you've grown, and we gonna stand on lineage, and we gonna keep moving, because I can't argue about spilled milk. That's how I feel.
All right.
I gotta keep moving. So
appreciate that.
Y'all.
Peace to Cleopatra. We're gonna have to get you in the next space because we're getting ready to close this one out. So shout out to everybody that came up in the space, the speakers, the listeners, everybody who retweeted. For those who did donate on Cash App as well, too, guys. Hate to run, but I gotta go ahead and shut it down for the night. So everybody, peace. I'm not sure we're gonna do another space this week either, but I'll try to see exactly what's up. I won't know till tomorrow. So shout out to everybody. If I don't do another space, and we'll see you next week. So peace, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see you later.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.